Shabbat Shalom and Mikra Kodesh to you. It's Holy Shabbat today of the festival of unleavened bread. And today we actually have a double Shabbat because we have the weekly Shabbat and we have the unleavened bread Shabbat according to our Enoch calendar. And of course the people who are going to do the other, I guess the lunar festival, they're still waiting. And as I said to you last week, that there are many people, probably I'd say in the Karaite camp, they already celebrated the festival on March 10th. So they already dusted with this feast, weeks ago. And we're dealing with it now on our regular April 3rd date. And the others are, the others are still waiting. So kind of funny, isn't it? We've got 3 different dates. And there may be more. There may be more than 3 dates. But that's okay because, this is nothing new. This has always happened in the past. I mean, don't think this is something new. This has happened in the past. In the past, we had several, we had about 5, 6 different types of Jews in Israel, ancient times, and they celebrated the festival 6 different times. So, so it's not like this is something new. This has already happened before. So having said that, we had a wonderful, Shabbat. We had a wonderful festival yesterday here in North America, Baruch Hashem Yahweh, and it was a great, simple, nothing, fanciful, none of this palaver that you find, sitting there for hours and hours and hours to eat your meal, which is not Torah basically. That's just not what Torah commands us. Torah commands us to do this festival. And, you can't even purchase a whole lamb because who's going to eat it? You need a lot of people to finish a whole lamb. So, again, it's not always practical and it's always not necessary either because only if you can finish it, you should buy a lamb because it's expensive. And if you're not going to finish it, you can end up discarding it, waste of food. But still, unless you're 10 people, 10 adults, not 2 adults and 8 children, 10 adults, then you should be looking to purchase a lamb and roast it as per the ancient commandment. But having said that, over the years, the commandment has kind of, filtered down with you can put a shank bone, or I wouldn't say a shank bone, you can put any bone you want on the plate as a representative of the lamb. Now, Christians would say that the lamb is the Lamb of God, it's Jesus, and blah, blah, blah. I do not teach that. I do not believe that. And that is a total false teaching, by the way. It's an erroneous teaching. I would highly recommend you not to stray to that kind of teaching because Passover lamb is the Passover lamb. Now, of course, during the Passover lamb, during that period, it was a very particular period, a special period where the Israelites were being removed from slavery and they were coming out and they were told to stay indoors whilst God was, sending his 10 plagues on the nation of Egypt and told Israelites to stay indoors and not come out and they would be protected. And in order to protect their homes, they were told to put blood on the doors, on the lintels of the doors. And so they basically did that. Now, of course, today, imagine you trying to put blood on your door in North America, cutting a lamb. You might get the police ending up on your door because somebody might report you and say, look at this guy, he's trying to do witchcraft, he's trying to put blood on his doorpost, that kind of thing. So again, that blood putting was for that particular time. You don't have to put blood on your doors today. But look at it today. We are all indoors. We can't go out, and we have actually a plague going on in America. Or not just America, we have a plague in the world. The whole world is struck with this plague. And Baruch Hashem Yahweh, I want to say this, that we have a great president, Mr. Trump. What a great president that we have. That he's basically put everything at his disposal. He's, executing every law, in the book, the law for wars, the law for production of equipment, medical, equipment, other equipment, is put all that to use. So I would say, remember, when I came to America in 2015, and 2016 was when Mr. Trump came in, and I said, this is going to be a great president for America. He's going to be a good president. And he did. Now you can see he is turning out to be a great president. He's doing a lot for the people. People are getting paid while they're staying indoors. I mean, how many presidents have done that? How many presidents are willing to pay you and tell you not to work for, 2-3 months, whatever the time period? So I think it's great. A lot of families are going to get benefit out of that, and we certainly are learning a great lesson about. Remember, if you are the children of Israel, and you already know this, and you should be practicing it, because I find there's a lot of Christians, people who come out of Christianity, they're ignorant, and they're not used to this washing of hands. They're like not taught. So they love their tissue papers, and they want to do everything with tissue paper. But, we as children, from the culture I came out of, we as children were taught to wash our hands and, wash it back and forth most of the time. And we do. And so here we have people that have been taught otherwise to not to wash their hands, to clean with tissues. And, tissues can still carry the bacteria. So think about it. This is why if you are the house of Israel, you would already know this, that you wash your hands. You don't just you don't just clean with tissues. Of course, when you wash your hands, you can clean with tissues afterwards. If you want to use tissue paper, that's fine. But having said that, be forewarned that this is why we have the 2-handled cup in the morning. And the 2-handled cup is not just for the morning; it's for the afternoon and for the evening. So whenever you go to the bath, you can use it. I mean, imagine you come from outside, and I have, I go to Walmart, I come back, and I have the 2-handled cup there. I wash my hand with soaps. I grab the one handle, pour it on one, and pour it on the other. In other words, it will not allow cross-contamination of hands whilst you're about to wash it. Now, you see, this is another thing. Is yesterday the advisory was that you don't have to wear masks. The president said that you can put a scarf on. You can put something that is of thick material that is even better than a mask. But the Dr. Burks was saying that, if you're going to put a mask on, make sure you don't touch your eyes and nose and all that, because you might contaminate yourself before you even put the mask on. So I would suggest this. There is a lot of information out there. Some of it right, some of it wrong. I would suggest to you this, and I'm going to say this. Hopefully, this may be helpful to you. Is that don't think for a second that the mask will remove the disease or protect you. So I would suggest exactly what the president said. If you really are fearful that you can get it from somebody else, then stick your scarf around your nose. Do not wear a mask. I'm going to say it again. Do not wear a mask, because the chances of you acquiring the disease with a mask, is a lot greater. Guess what? They are changing their mask in hospital every 2 hours. Now tell me, if the mask protected them, why are they changing it every 2 hours? So this is all I'm not going to say it's a game, or it's money, but really, yeah, absolutely, Rabbi Kefa, a mask does not mean that you don't wash your hands, or you don't protect yourself, don't stay indoors. Keep yourself isolated, be safe, stay indoors, only go out if you have to, and try to, keep minimum contact with people who are susceptible. Because you may be amongst groups of people that are not susceptible, and you may be with those that are. Because remember, they're not talking about this gene, that if you have this gene, that you will not be infected. Now, I guess in strokes, quotation marks, I have the gene, I'm not going to be infected by this. And I would say this, that I have never, ever had the flu. And I'm not going to get this virus either. Because I tell you what, let me prove the point. I went through 5 airports when nobody knew about the virus, and it was locked down in China. At that time, I went through 5 airports, and I came out perfectly okay. And guess what? The virus was around. Yes, people were carrying the virus in the airports at that time. But did I wear a mask? No. Did I wear any protective, nasal clothing or some other, head scarves? No, nothing. And I knew that China was on lockdown, and I knew the virus was around. But you know what? Yahweh is my savior, and Yahweh is my protector, and we are the Kohanim. And so we do not, Yahweh is not going to allow this little peddly little disease, right, to infect the Kohanim, because we could withstand plagues, we could withstand leprosy, and we could withstand TB and all sorts of other illnesses. Remember, the Kohanim were the people that God sent everybody to. Go and check if you have the disease. Why would He send it to the Kohanim? Why not send it to somebody else, some other tribe? Reason is very simple. The Kohanim were given the immunity to be protected from such and such illnesses. Otherwise, the Kohanim would be the first people to get infected. Because imagine if you're standing in front of a person and that person has leprosy. Leprosy is highly contagious. In the ancient times, they shut people out of the cities. They closed the cities to people with plagues like that. And they said, stay away. And they did not let them come in. And so they were closed. They were closed to this particular illness, and there would be people. There would be just one person who would go outside the city and leave food for these people, and these people had to hide in caves outside the city, so others would not be infected. So why? Because this was highly contagious, highly contagious. The ancient leprosy. I don't think we've even seen a case of the ancient leprosy today. And maybe, some remote part of the world, I don't know, maybe you do. But I've never heard of a case being found of that kind of leprosy that is so contagious that people, would cover, the leprous person would cover their face and mask with a scarf so that other people will not get it. So having said that, time-tested commandments, wash your hands. Time-tested. Wash your hands. Keep telling yourself that. Wash your hands. When you come back from outside, wash your hands. When you go outside, make sure that you can make some sanitizer yourself, because you're not going to find sanitizer in shops right now. So try and make it yourself. Take some aloe vera gel, take some witch hazel. Easily you can buy for under $1, and take some alcohol, probably under $1 at Walmart. Mix them together and you have a beautiful hand sanitizer. You can carry anywhere you like. So I highly recommend you make your own. And I also highly recommend that if you're worried, when you go to shopping and you're worried, then just take a scarf. Most places right now are cold, especially in Ohio. I can wear a scarf if I want to. To be honest, I wear a scarf for fashion more than anything else, so I don't really cover my nose with it, but I usually take a scarf, and I used to take in England as well as some kind of a, just to keep my neck warm really, and and it looks nice, just to keep the neck warm, and it looks nice as well. So if you use a scarf, that'd be fine. But as soon as we get into the warmer months, and we are coming to the warmer month at the end of April, we're gonna be full blown heat. Heat's gonna start in America in kind of May period. You're gonna start getting hot environment. And so this virus will not survive 80 and above. And yes, it can survive on surfaces right now, but not in May. In May, it will not survive. So that's important. Now, for the Passover, we discussed last week, and I'll say it again. I don't know what you guys did. I had to, this year round, I had difficulty getting lamb, so I had to resort to fish. I didn't get lamb this year, and so I decided to use fish instead. So it's perfectly fine, because it's just a symbol. It's not it's not that you have to put a whole roasted lamb on your table. It's a symbol. So for a symbol, you can do it. And if you can't get lamb, then you can get beef. And if you can't get beef, then you can get fish. And if you can't get fish, then you can get something else. So what about the people who are not circumcised? As I advised was that those people that are not circumcised, they should still be allowed to sit, but give them a different meal. Don't give them the meal that you prepared for Passover, but prepare an alternative meal, whether that is chicken and beans and vegetables or whatever it is. So there are two meals that are prepared, one for the people who are not yet fully in the Torah, and maybe they are uncircumcised, because circumcision is required, by the way, and I'm talking about physical, not spiritual circumcision. Physical circumcision is required. Now, I had an interesting, well, actually, before I talk about that interesting bit, but I just wanted to say that the president has gone all out, sending out thousands of dollars a check. And here is the deal, right? And this is what I understood, is that any American that is working, or maybe not working right now, will be compensated for 3 months if their companies put them to house, and they will be compensated for, staying home basically for 3 months, or it might be even longer. Now, also I understood that if you are on Social Security, that you will be compensated with additional money if you're on Social Security. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because, you probably listen to the broadcast as well as I do. And so that's what I understood. So, if you're a family of 2, then each child will get $500. So you'll be given $1,200 plus your children. If 2-child family, then you'll be given $1,000 extra. So a 2-child family will be given $1,200 plus $1,000, $2,200. That's what a 2-child family will get. Now, if you're a 3-child family, start adding the money on. And I'm thinking, and this is not me, but I'm thinking if somebody has 10 children, they already got it made. They're already laughing and walk all the way to the bank, right, and saying, wow, I got $5,000 for my 10 kids. But anyhow, that's just by the by. If you got 10 kids, you got a lot of mouths to feed. So having said that, that's basically the gist of it, that how the government is helping. But let me actually point out something. A lot of people are going out with doom and gloom. It's not doom and gloom, because we have already been there before. And if you don't know your history, I encourage you to go study American history. In 1917, we had the Spanish flu, which is believed that was passed by American soldiers to Europe and vice versa. And I believe that those soldiers got it from China, believe it or not. So those soldiers brought it from China. So China was again the bad actor behind that. And of course, China will never admit that, but it killed a lot of people. 500 million people, that's 500 million people were infected, and 50 million people died. If today, right, 2 million people die, big deal. 2 million people die, who cares at the end of the day, right? We have people dying every day with the hunger in the world. So, today people are dying with hunger in the world. Does anybody care? Nobody cares for them. 14,000 people die every day generally. So my point is this, that we're so worried about coronavirus, right? While we forget, right, every day 14,000 people die. So at the end of the day, no, who cares? Who cares if people die? Yeah, people will die. And who cares? Because you're not going to stop those people's deaths. So that's just that, really. I mean, let's be honest and real about it. If, we go to fight a war, and, we drop bombs in Afghanistan, and how many people did we kill in Iraq, by the way? Oh, I hear 5 million. Oh, I see. You care? Where the hell were you when they were, shooting down bombs on Iraq? Where were you at that point? And why didn't you care then and put out protests and say, stop bombing Iraqis? Because what have we got with Iraq? Nothing. What got to do with Iraq? We're in America, and we are firing bombs over there and wasting our ammunition. Point being that our president recognized that, we're wasting our ammo, and we are wasting trillions of dollars, and we shouldn't be doing that. We are fighting the wrong war. So 5 million people were killed, by the way, in Iraq. And what you're telling me, that we're worried about 2 million people going to die? So I don't think so. Nobody's worried about it. All this is within the realms of economics. And I know this might be hard for some of you, but it's actually true. In the realms of economic and corporate world, 2 million to 5 million to 10 million people die, and somebody else makes a profit. Do you seriously think they consider that as they care about it? No, they don't, because it's called collateral damage. So if we get collateral damage, then nobody cares about it in the corporate world. Because collateral damage, some people die and some people get very rich. Because guess what? When the vaccines come out, and millions and billions of vaccines go out, somebody's going to be very rich. And if you think that the stock market is down and everybody's losing, no. There's always an opposite side. When there is a buyer, there's always a seller. So if somebody who was a buyer lost money, then somebody as a seller made tons of money. Now, don't tell me that the stock market fell to 2016 lows and everybody lost. No, there were those people that sold, they were the winners, and they're probably laughing and saying to themselves, you know what, we made a killing. So there's always two sides to the coin. There's a head and there's a tail. So, those people made money, and maybe there was a time when these people were losing money, like, when the market was continuously going up, and these were like people shorting the market. They were being bearish on the market, and the market was just shooting up, and they were losing, and they were upset, but now they are winning, and they are happy. So, always two sides to the coin. So, like in wartime situation, we have two sides. We have those that live, those that die. And unfortunately, reality is this, that this is not the only virus we are hit with today. We may get hit again tomorrow by some other virus. So we have to be prepared. One thing I liked what the president said was this, that now we're going to be properly prepared for future runs. So it was great that this happened. It's really good that this happened, because God does everything for good. God never does anything for bad. So if God did this, you know what it taught us as a nation? It taught us that we must have our own medication. We must have all our companies back on American soil, because when they are not on American soil, other countries can block them from sending equipment, medicine, other things. That's something that America learned, that we must have. And the glut of oil, well, it's a blessing in disguise. A glut of oil, the low prices. I mean, who knows? The oil could go to $15 a barrel. Who knows? If Saudi Arabia and Russia don't act, oil could be hitting below $20. It's already hit 19. It could be going to $15 a barrel if these two countries don't act. So the president yesterday said that he wants those two countries to act to limit the supply of oil so that oil prices can rise. But right now, I'm telling you, this is a blessing in disguise. And probably, Rabbi Kefa, your area maybe oil is selling for under $1. My goodness, think about that. What a benefit you guys have over there in Texas. Oil over here, right? Gas over here in Ohio is going around $1.59 a gallon. Now, the president was saying that in some areas, gas is at under $1. So think about it. So a lot of people are benefiting from lower gas prices. And then again, California hardly changed. It's still stuck at, $4.72, whatever it is. So you guys, Rabbi Kefa, you could be having somewhere close to under $1, because I remember when I was going through Lubbock, Lubbock, the area you pass through to get to Colorado, I was going through Lubbock, and at that time, when everywhere else it was about $1.90, and Lubbock was like $1.70, so it was even cheaper than rest of the country. So I believe that definitely certain parts of the country will be under $1. And so, for some people, I was thinking this, and this is the truth. I was thinking this, that some billion-dollar hedge funds, they're going to go belly up. They're going to implode, because they are fully invested in gas and oil. And guess what? Gas and oil are at the lowest prices, and in historically speaking. Guess what's going to happen to those companies? They're going to go belly up, and how many investors are going to lose money? Think about it. Don't think about people dying. Think about the people who will die by suicide and commit suicide, because you know what? Their fund imploded. And they had maybe $50,000, maybe 100, maybe 500, and those people are going to be crying. And they are going to be looking to commit suicide. The virus is not going to kill them. I can tell you that. The virus is not going to kill them, but suicide will. And taking, poison will kill them. So we are facing other very harmful issues. Absolutely, Rabbi Kefa, and I think many people don't realize that unfortunately, and I do feel, I'm not saying that I hate people, or don't have compassion. I do feel for people. Actually, if people die, it's a sad affair. It's not a happy affair. But I'm pretty sure funeral companies will be happy. Funeral companies will be like, business is so good that we've never had it that good. Somebody always benefits from somebody's death, okay? Don't think that it's always doom and gloom. Somebody benefits. And so, what about the families that are going to be killed when their fund is imploded? when they have no money left over there in the stock market because it crashed, and those families are going to be facing a very uncertain future. And there's going to be billionaires committing suicides too. That will happen too. It happened last time, it will happen this time as well. So, a lot of doom and gloom, a lot of nasty business out there. But, I tell you what, it's our Passover. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Lift up your head and give thanks to the God of glory and God of happiness and the God of joy and the God of blessings. That is the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Give him, if you are living today and you're alive, you give him thanks. Because you're never going to have it better than this ever. Because he has a covenant with us. He has a covenant with us and he'll always protect us. And not saying that God hates everybody else. No, I will never say that. God, everybody else was also created by God. And God loves humanity. And God will do what God has to do for the rest of humanity too. But we have been put over here as a people of the books, as a people to reveal light to the people. And a lot of our books talk about things, spiritual things, physical. There's a lot of spiritual connection. So I wanted to come towards that side of spiritual connection. And I wanted to take you to, people, everybody wants to make Jesus their savior and everything else. And here's an interesting thing, right? I just had a student today who kind of contacted me, and this student of mine, I believe he's Muslim actually. I believe he's from a Muslim background, and he is studying in China, near Shanghai, in university over there. So I was having a chat with him earlier that what are the situations like in China and Shanghai. And so he told me that things are still not fully panned out. They're still working the disease out, and universities are still shut. So, he's gone from his family over there in China and for studying engineering degree, etc. So, having said that, China has very close lips, but China made a killing, by the way, and those of you who don't know, China made a big killing. Because China let the companies go to the wall, the share prices were dropping like no man's business, 70, 80, 90% down. And then what China did, they bought all those American company shares out and even nationalized some companies. And so China ended up sitting on a pile of money. When the dust settled, China was sitting on a pile of money and will be in the future sitting on a pile of money. We're talking about billions of dollars over here, not, 1, 2,000 or 1, 2 million, billions of dollars of wealth that China will be sitting on because they, lied to everybody and they kept everything closed and they didn't let everybody know what's going on. And today China will be sitting on billions of dollars of wealth when this dust settles. Now, do you think China cares about collateral damage? Think again. They don't give two damns about people dying. And only they care about is how much money they're going to make out of this. And then, a few people died, few 100,000 died, few million. China has over 1 billion population. Do you seriously consider that China cares? I don't think so. So this is why I said, right, hence why my earlier comments. When it comes to corporate greed, people do not care. And I'm talking about governments here, not just people. People do not care when it comes to corporate greed. So, all in all, of course, we as a people have been commanded to be compassionate. We have been commanded to love our neighbor. And we have been commanded to look out for our neighbor. And so it becomes very difficult that, we have to abide by the commandments given us. So, of course, we do care, we do care. And we want everybody to be happy. And God has given us the necessary information for our lives to be blessed and for others' lives to be blessed through us. That's what's important, I believe. And that's the message, is that we want other people's lives to be blessed as well, not just our lives. And we want them to be happy. We want them to succeed, just as we succeed. So, from the house of Israel perspective, from the law of Moses perspective, we want people to benefit. We want people to be safe. And we want them to be healthy and happy. It's great to see other people doing well. I'm always happy to see people doing well. I never have an issue with jealousies or things like that. But having said that, I wanted to just look at some of Jesus' words, because I thought it would be important in Matthew chapter 5 verse 17, where you got remember that commandment, do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them but to fulfill them. You hear Christians quote this like no man's business. But guess what? Christians quote it, but do they even follow it? So, or do they even understand it? And I think that's where I am right now. My take is simply this. My take is this, that Christians may say these words, but they don't understand them and they don't follow them. So I'm going to pull up the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, and let me just open that passage from Matthew 5:17. Then I will take you through some rudimentary explanations what's going on. How we understand these verses. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 in the Bible, in our translation of the Bible, it goes as follows. Let me pull it up. Matthew 5:17. Think not that I have come to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I have not come to destroy it, but to reveal its full intended meaning. Okay, for verily I say to you, until Shamaim and the earth pass away, one yod or nekudah shall in no wise pass from the Torah until all of it has been correctly filled up. What a beautiful, beautiful translation. I tell you, this is the absolute beautiful translation. That is what's actually saying. It's not talking about like Christians believe, oh, Jesus did it and I don't have to do nothing and I'm now free and I'm now saved. All of that is garbage talk. And you hear that garbage talk from church pastors and Christians all the time. So what did Jesus mean when he said that I've come to fulfill the law? Listen, we have been given the Torah. We, the people of Israel, the people of children of Israel, have been given this Torah. And what does it mean? It means that God has given you the ability to receive your desires and to receive your fulfillment of your life. Somebody asked me earlier a question, and I wanted to publicly respond to that question as well. One of my students asked me a question. He says, Rabbi, can I have the 7 chakras cleaning going on all the time? Like unconsciously, can they be cleaned up without me doing the meditation every day, which he does the meditation every day? He said, without doing the meditation every day, can I actually have my chakras being always cleaned? And is there some way, because I like to think I like to be master of my life and have my chakras always cleaning. And I told him, I said, absolutely yes, you can. Yes, you can, because what you're talking about, chakra cleaning, is chakra balancing. So what you're basically saying, can my chakras be always balanced? All 7 of my major chakras, that I'm always in sync and always, doing the best of my life? And the answer is yes. So I explained to him that all you need to do is set an affirmation. When you set an affirmation and you work that affirmation, your chakras will be in balance. They will not go out of balance because your mind, your subconscious, your inner I am is now programmed to keep that balance going. So I said, it's really down to you. So, I gave him a one-liner. I'd have to pull it up to tell you what I wrote to him exactly on that one line. And I told him that if he did that, he'd be able to keep his chakras in balance. And let me just see if I can find it. Problem is, I'm getting so many tweets coming in from the president. So I have to, I switched my mail off because it was just too many tweets. So let me actually write that. Let me write that for you, because I want to write that for you so you can see, instead of me just these president tweets, so many tweets coming through like no man's business. Okay, hold on. Looks like it won't let me. It won't let me. My goodness. Let me just clear this. Okay. 15,000 tweets. Okay, so Okay, so here is the one I gave him. My chakras are always in balance and I receive all my desires. My chakras are always in balance and I receive all my desires. That is the kind of affirmation that you want to write to keep your chakras in balance. Because if your chakras are in balance, then your state of receiving your desires is up to sync. Now that doesn't mean that you don't do your meditation. Of course you do your meditation, but that will make your body almost on autopilot. When you're on autopilot, then you will be receiving all your desires and dreams which are positive related. So that's one way of doing it. Now I wanted to go through what Jesus meant, and I wanted to just give you a little illustration. Just a little illustration. Think not that I've come to destroy the Torah, the prophets. I've not come to destroy it, but to reveal its full intended meaning, or to fill it. Fill full instead of fulfill. What does fill full mean? Means that you can use the Torah to fill all your desires to the full. That's actually what it means. So, what do we have? Let me give you a little illustration, a philosophical illustration of the cross, the death and the resurrection that is mentioned in the New Testament pages. The cross, what does the cross symbolize? The tree. What does it symbolize? Let's just call it a tree. You could call it a cross. It's no problem. I don't have a problem with that. The tree. What does it symbolize? I take my desire and I nail it to the tree. You can nail it to the cross. Nail it to the tree. Okay? You nail it on. That's your desire. That's your fixed point. Now, remember, a seed has to fall to the ground. In order for the seed to grow, it must die. So you must have a death. So that death is signified in the death of Jesus of Nazareth. That technically that is the death that signifies that the seed dies, and then the seed gets resurrected. The man gets resurrected. In other words, your desire, your manifestation is gonna come to life in front of you. That is a resurrection, by the way. That is a 3-step process. First step, you take a desire, nail it to the cross. In other words, nail it to the tree. You nailed it to the tree. Now what you do? Now you start to read your manifestations, or you do your meditation, or you do your reading, your visualization. You do your visualization, and what's the third thing that's going to happen? Whatever is internal is going to be external. In other words, you get impregnated. You get impregnated, and you're going to bring your child out. That child that you bring out, by the way, is your manifestation. Whether that's a house, whether that's a business, whether that's, $500 million, whatever it is, you bring it out. That is all in the realm of possibility. That is basically the 3-step process of manifesting. That's what Jesus revealed. Now, did we all get that? No, because majority of the people, what did they make that? Oh, Jesus died for me, Jesus' blood is on me, and Jesus saved me, and all this larky. All this larky came out of it. So, is that the case? No, the Torah doesn't say that. The Torah never gives that. It says that Jesus died for you and Jesus' blood is on you, because the Torah actually prohibits us on 2 fronts. The Torah says, do not eat blood. How many people today are eating Jesus' blood and having a bath in it? Do not eat blood, and do not take the blood upon you. Those are the 2 things that the Torah teaches us. But what do Christians do? They eat the blood, they drink the blood, and they sleep in the blood. And I'm talking about spiritually. I'm not saying literally. Spiritually. Eat the blood, drink the blood, and, swim in the blood. They're swimming in the blood, kind of spiritually. And again, don't take it literally. I'm not saying literally, but spiritually. So, yet I've given you the 3 manifesting process. Stick it on the tree, that is your desire. Nail it on the cross, that's your desire. And what did Jesus say? Carry the cross. But what is the cross? That's your desire. Right? So you carry the cross, you carry your desire. Your tree is your desire, you carry it, you visualize it, you repeat it, and then you get it. That's the resurrection. Eddie's saying that, why did Jesus say the Last Supper bit, this is my blood and body? Sure. Eddie, everything that Jesus said is based on spiritual understanding. It is not a physical thing, unfortunately. I'm not saying it was inserted. These may have been the exact words Jesus said, but the blood has to be taken as spiritual, not as physical blood or physical body. Problem is that if you go to the Catholic Church today and they give you this little piece of bread and they will say, this is Jesus' body, eat it. So they're making you eat this little piece of bread as spiritual body of Jesus. That's not what Jesus was saying, by the way. Blood and body was in reference to the entire manifesting process. And unfortunately, churches have made it something totally different. And maybe we can look at that. Jesus' blood and body. I mean, I will definitely pick up the verse. Let me find the verse and let me speak about it. Jesus' blood and body. Let me just acquire the verse. I believe that was probably in the book of John. Let's see. Let me find it. Now, where is it? It's not going to be in the Paul's books. It's going to be in somewhere in John. Blood of Jesus Christ is spoken about in 1 John 1:7. But if we walk in the light, as He is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus Christ, His Son, cleanses us from all sin. Now, remember what I explained to you earlier, is sin must be understood as your desire. Sin cannot understand, sin is nothing but just desire. Sin means the Torah not being fulfilled, your desire not met. That is sin. Don't take sin as, he ate pork and he committed sin. It's not like that. It's missing the mark. Thank you, luxury class. It's missing the mark. So why does I'd have to look up the exact verse, luxury class, where the exact verse is, where it says body being broken. Unless you can quote me, and I can pull up my translation of what it says. I'm just referencing the KJV right now. So, having said that, what does it mean that we are in the light if He's in the light? Very simple. He is in the light. What does that mean? It means it's awareness. Jesus is technically considered awareness, mean God. So He's Kabbalistically He's God. He's awareness Kabbalistically. Jesus is not God in the flesh. Do you understand? We can't say Jesus is God in the flesh because God is not fleshly. God is light. So all this talk is spiritual talk, and in Kabbalistically we take it as, okay, Kabbalistically a man can be God. You can be God Kabbalistically because you have awareness within you. Awareness equals God. Okay? Awareness equals God. So when He says He's in the light, well, who's in the light? Only God lives in the light. So we are in the light too. Because when we exercise awareness, we do take upon God on ourselves and we manifest, because we become creators at that point in time and history when we do that. So those verses have to be understood in the correct context. And if we misunderstand them, we'll misappropriate and we'll end up creating a new religion, which what Christianity did, by the way, created a new religion out of it. And it says here, but if we walk in the light as He is in the light, what does it mean walk in the light? It means that we must practice the same way as Jesus told us to practice. Practice what? Practice the Torah. Practice manifesting laws. And then we have fellowship with them. In other words, if I'm doing something contrary to Rabbi Kefa, or if Rabbi Kefa is not doing what I tell him, then Kefa is contrary to me, is not listening to his teacher. So therefore he cannot manifest if that was the case. But if Kefa does exactly what I tell him, he will manifest exactly as I told him. That means we are in fellowship with one another. That's all it means, my brothers and sisters and friends and family. That's all it means. It does not mean any more than that. It does not mean any more than that. So don't take any more meanings than what is meant. And the blood of Jesus Christ, His Son, cleanses us from... What does it mean, His blood, the blood of Jesus? Listen, blood of Jesus is just a symbol. It's not literal blood. We're not supposed to take anybody's blood on us. Blood of Jesus is simply the teachings that Jesus gave us. It makes us hit the mark. What is sin? Missing the mark. What is not having sin? Hitting the mark. So the teachings of Jesus, he was a rabbi, he was a great rabbi, great teacher, anointed. He was anointed as well. So he was a Messiah, a type of Messiah. So, whether he's the Messiah or not, time will tell. If he returns and builds the third temple, then you can say he is the Messiah. And if you don't return and build the temple, then it's not the Messiah, then it's just a Messiah. So, we have to be open-minded about this. So, what does he talk about? Mean blood, his teachings. His Son cleanses us. Cleanses us from what? So that we can hit the mark. See, problem is this, that Christianity totally, bamboozled and gave you the wrong teachings, and you ended up with totally the wrong thing. Totally the wrong thing. So, when I follow my teacher, if Jesus is my teacher and I follow him, right, then I do not miss the mark. Does that mean I've literally eaten his blood? No. Blood here references simply to the teachings, to the methods that Jesus gave us, and we apply it. We apply the methods and we get it. That's all it means. It means nothing more. When he says, pick up your cross and walk, what's he talking about? Piece of wood? No, he's not talking about piece of wood. He's simply saying to you that take the point of mark, that point of reference where you're going to nail your desire. You're going to nail your desire on a point of reference, which in this case is pick up your cross or your tree. When you nail your reference on it and you do the method that I've given you and you acquire it, you're going to say, wow, the Rabbi is right. The Rabbi was right. If I applied this method, this is what I will get the result. And I got my result. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. What a great, great result. Let me tell you this. And I'll say it only once. Although I don't like to say it publicly, but I'll say it once. And I did say it privately to a couple of my students. I have a student living today, alive, very much alive, and kicking, and doing really well. That student manifested $1 million. He followed my teachings to the letter. Now, I keep telling you to follow the teachings to the letter. If you don't persevere, you will not receive. Okay? A lot of the times I am finding that some of my students are failing. They are failing because they are not being persistent. They are not listening to what I'm saying. They are not following the method. If I tell you to write a list, and you write a list for 5 days, and you get tired, and you stop doing it. If I tell you to meditate every day with a particular meditation, and you do it 3 days, and then you stop, are you going to become a millionaire? Or are you going to be standing in the street and thinking, why isn't this manifestation coming in my life? Did the Rabbi teach me wrong? Or maybe I should look for another teacher now. So what's happening is that I'm not saying everybody, some people are jumping from river to river. And I have said this many times. Those that drink the water of many rivers will not be satisfied. They will not acquire their desires. Because the next shiny object will be the next person selling you something else, then something else, then something else. And you continue to move on. And you will not get your desires in life. But if you stick to one teacher, and if you stuck with me, then stick with me, and I guarantee you your success. Provided you follow what I taught you. And if you don't follow what I taught you, then go back to the last 1 year of teachings. Make a project to listen to all my 1 year of teachings. And, repeat them all. And you're gonna pick up new information, and you're gonna learn, I made mistakes over here. Now I'm gonna fix all my mistakes. So, instead of being bitter waters, you'll be living waters if you follow what I taught you. That's exactly what Jesus said. That's exactly what the prophet Isaiah said. That's exactly what the prophet Ezekiel said. That's exactly what Moses said. If you don't follow what I teach you, then please, don't feel bitter about it. Just go back and look. Maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe the method is wrong that you're doing. Maybe a manifestation, maybe an affirmation is written the wrong way. I had somebody, and this is a true story again. I have a student in Manila, Philippines, and I asked them. I said, it's been a year since they've been doing this practice, and I asked them. I said, how is it going? And they said, I haven't received my manifestation yet. I said, can I ask you what you've written down? How have you written it down? And then they gave me what they've written down. And it was totally, totally wrong. So I told them, I said, you know what? It's never going to come. because your writing is wrong. You've written it wrong. This will not manifest. So I said, you should have asked me, 6 months ago you should have asked me, I have written this, Kohen, is this right or wrong? And I could have corrected you right there and said, you know what, you've written this wrong, now correct it, now write it the right way. And then you will start seeing results. So the reason why people don't see results is not that the teachings are wrong, is that your method is not being, you're not following the method. Now, I presented here a number of methods, and you might say, well, Rabbi, one time you said this, and now you're saying this, and now you're saying that, because I'm giving you different methods that can be applied differently. So, number one, you could write your list every day, non-stop. That's one method. Number two, you could write your list as I do, 14 days, and then 14 days you take off. That's a second method. Number three, you write your list for, that 14 days, or the everyday method, you write it 5 times, 10 times, or 3 times, or 30 times. These are 4 sub methods. This is the same method of writing 14 days or forever, but within that there's a sub method. The sub method is, do you write 5 times? Do you write 3 times? Do you write 30 times? Do you write 10 times? These are all 4 sub methods. Now, it's entirely up to you which one of those you pick. Somebody might say, you know what, I'm only going to write it 5 times every day, my desire. Somebody might say, I will write it 10 times every day, my desire. I'll do it for 14 days, I'll take 14 days rest. Somebody might say, no, I'm going to do it every day till it comes. So both are right. Both of the people who decide to do that are correct. Neither is in mistake. But my question is this, is if it happens to the people who write every day versus the people who don't write every day. Now, which is the fast for me as a teacher, as an engineer background person, for me, in order to save you time and effort, I have to learn what is the best method, what is the fastest method to bring it to pass. Hence why I present to you, this is why you will see the difference from last year's teachings to this year's teachings. Why? Because I have found that these present methods that I'm using are quicker, are better, are going to help you the faster way to manifest. Hence why you see that change. It's not like last year's teachings are no longer valuable, they are obsolete. No, it's not that. They are not obsolete. They are still valuable teachings. But that's one method. So I'm giving you a different method now. Now I have at least 4 students that I have on board that are helping me to determine whether writing 5 times a day, writing 10 times a day, doing it every day, or taking a break for 14 days. These are the different methodologies, and I'm not yet at a juncture where I can give you the result and say, well, you know what I found is this. So I'm waiting for results because we've just gone on this quest. And this quest for us is to see which one works. But let me tell you what actually works faster. But I will again, you see, if I speak about just myself and I say, this works for me, it might not work for you the same way. Because we have different types of makeup. And I mean that I might be doing, one type of meditation, and I might be doing another type of let's just say mantra, I might be doing another type of mantra, and you might not be doing that way. So maybe my result will be different to your result. So therefore, what I'm trying to do is, this is why I asked my students, I said, please, can you help me and do this for me and report back to me after a month, 2 months, and 3 months, these different time periods, so that I can then go back to my students and say, listen guys and girls, I have done this now on a testing ground, and this is what I've got the results. Now you can follow this, because this has been now proven by my students. Hence why I'm still waiting on results. It's too early for me to give you results. Just as the president said, we're giving people hydroxychloroquine. It's working. We're going to have great results, but I can't tell you the test results right now. Just like that, he's testing it on 1,100 people in the US, in New York. And I can tell you that it's working great as well. So I can tell you that my methods are working great. For some people, it's boom, instant. And for others, it takes a little bit of time. So what I'm trying to figure out now is what is it that they're doing that makes it take longer? And what is it that the ones that are doing that makes it, come quicker? So believe me, it will be only a matter of time before I declare it to you what happens in this class. So, we're probably all so excited to know, right, what is the best method and how best to increase my life and benefit myself and have the greatest of blessings in my life. And by the way, all this is through the Torah. This is not through some mumbo jumbo, teachings. This is something that I have sat down, I have looked at, I have examined with my own eyes and hands in life, and I've used the Torah to arrive to these positions. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Rabbi Kefa because I don't want to, take up more time than I have already. And but I will tell you this, that very soon, and I can't say whether it will be in a month's time or 2 months' time, but probably I'd say within the next 6 months, you will be hearing from me the fastest method to manifest, so that your lives can be benefited, blessed, and tremendously changed. And that will happen. But again, I've given you a brief. I've given you a brief on what's happening behind the scenes. I can't tell you names, places, people, but I will tell you the place don't matter, the country don't matter, and the city don't matter. If you apply the method, it will work anywhere in the world. Anywhere. I don't care what country you live in. So with that, Todah, thank you. Have a great festival this week, those of you that are celebrating. And over to you, Rabbi Kefa. Todah and Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom on this beautiful, wonderful double Shabbat day for us.
Yeah, Todah Rabah HaKoim. Indeed, it is Shabbat on top of a Shabbat. Baruch Hashem. If I could be get a one, Todah HaKoim, for your instruction, and I'm so happy and humbled. Yahudi, Shabbat Shalom to you. Rabbi Zachariah, Shabbat Shalom to you. I tell you. Shane Yah, Shabbat Shalom to you, Eddies in Ohio 5. Shabbat Shalom to all of you family. Quick question. How many of you celebrated Passover with the Hanukkah calendar? How many of you on our first calendar, Hanukkah's calendar? Put up a capital C if you celebrate Hanukkah calendar and you already celebrated the Passover last night, Baruch Hashem. Just want to know and wish you all a great Shabbat. Todah, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. I like to go back to the ancient of ancients, and can you get more ancient than, my goodness, than the Shabbat calendar? Now, than the Hanukkah calendar. Now, I'm not knocking those of you who don't believe me. Just like our Kohen gave the instructions. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what date you celebrate the Shabbat on. Let's not make division here. We're all about multiplication. We're all about bringing the family together, and no division here, and not trying to one up another person and this, that, the other. I just wanted to know. So, Baruch Hashem. So, this was my first Shabbat with Nachshon, my son, who is now, this month, he'll be 7 months. My goodness, Baruch Hashem. He'll be 7 months old, Baruch Hashem. Next time we talk, he'll be 17. My goodness. But anyway, it was a great time for me and my family. Just like you all had a wonderful Shabbat. And every Passover Shabbat, every Passover, which is a Shabbat, I would always say to myself that, and I would always tell this to Jim Hoffman, I said, one day, as I was sitting at the table with just myself and my dog Pharaoh, I would say, one day I will celebrate my Shabbat with my family with me and my son sitting next to me, and I will be feeding him lamb. And that actually took place last night. I was able to feed him some leg of lamb, Baruch Hashem. I tell you, he was chowing down on it too. And I have another custom in my bait that I always watch the 10 Commandments during the Passover. Because the Passover goes right into unleavened bread, right? So, here I am watching, last night watching my 10 Commandments with Charleston Heston. Classic. How many of you still watch that? I tell you, it's a classic for me on all levels. But anyway, that's a custom in my base. And so I have Nachshon sitting there, and I tell you, Nachshon's first word was mama. Mama. He's saying that, mama, I have to record it. Mama. But I tell you what, do you know what his second word is? His second word is, you know what he said? He said Moses. And Moses came on last night. Now, Sean sees Moses on TV, and, you know, he gets so excited. And he begins to say Moses, like he wants to say Moses. So, Baruch Hashem. If you go to our website at African-Israel.com, or actually it's forever-Israel.com, you can find it under Ask the Rabbi. You will see the calendars there, and you can, you know, pick your dates. Use your dates for however you need to use them, and make them comfortable and conducive for you in the nations. Don't get caught up on losing a job because you want to keep the Hanat calendar. Don't do that, or you're trying to keep the Gregorian calendar, or you're trying to keep one of the Hillel calendars. You know, however you want to do it, retrofit what's best for you and your family. You know, because, you know, God forbid that you get fired for wanting to keep, one of the Hillel calendars that's all over the place, and, you know, you have your employer looking at you saying, well, the Jews don't celebrate Passover this time, and you cause all kind of confusion and blah, blah, blah. Do what's best for you to keep the peace. Not only in your house, but outside of your home as well. More importantly, in your home, though. Because if you have peace in your home, guess what? Peace will permeate outside of your home to wherever and whatever else you're into, whatever else you're doing, outside of the four walls of your faith, of your home. So I think it's very important for you to look at and examine. So look at what works best for you, but I would encourage you to let your desires be made known in your affirmations and, you know, in your scripting on what do you want. Because at the end of the day, I can tell you, you know, from what I'm noticing, even in my own life, is that if you don't hone in on really what you want and what you desire, like if it's just not to your core, you know, the Master Yeshua would always ask the folks is, well, what do you want? And if you don't hone in on that particular point, doing all of the process that we've been given in the instruction we've been given from the Kohen, it's not going to work for you. So at the end of the day, you really have to know within your being what you want. You really have to know that. And once you know that, my goodness, the rest is a cakewalk, but you really have to know. That's the bedrock and foundation of meeting of perfect law, is that you have to know what you want without a shadow of a doubt. How many of you are with me on that? You have to know that you know that you know that you know what you want. And I knew I wanted a son more than anything. More than anything. I wanted my name to carry on. I wanted my legacy to carry on. I wanted that more than anything. So you have to know, and it has to become a part of you. It just becomes second nature to where you see it already into being. I saw myself feeding my son Nachon sheep, lamb meat. And sure enough, last night, that vision, that affirmation, that manifestation came into being. And I give thanks to God, to the God of Israel. More importantly, I always do give thanks to my Kohen in the gate. And see, that's what I want to look at today. So, yeah, Nachon, he began to say Moses. I tell you, Moses came on, he would get so excited, he was trying to start talking, and Moses came up, and he'd get quiet. So anytime there was a mention of Moses, Nachon would look. Hey, he sat there with me for a good 30 minutes. Now, you know that movie's about 4 hours long. But he sat there with me for a good 30 minutes, and he hung in there. And he watched it. This is the beginnings. I didn't get this coming up, Miss Farr. I didn't grow up I wasn't raised in a Torah home. And I know the majority of you can say the same thing, right? You wasn't raised in the Torah home. You probably majority of you probably in a Christian home. And if not a Christian home, a Catholic home, I can guarantee you. Majority, probably 99% of you in the family, that's what you come out of. And that's okay. Because not only can you sympathize, but you can empathize with folks, and it makes you a better, well-rounded individual. That you have this kind of background. Don't see it as a hindrance, but see it as a great blessing and a great help. A lot of times we see things as hindrances when we need to look at them as a great help and a great benefit. Now, Kohen mentioned this in his lecture. I don't know how many of you caught it. I was saying, food for thought. Know what you believe and believe what you know. That's very important. Easier said than done for a lot of folks. You got to really hone in on what do you want. What truly do you want? You see, because before you can believe, you have to want. For belief to really take seed and take effect, you have to know what you want first. You know, because Christians will tell you up and down that they're believers, and they believe in a lot of stuff, right? You know, but again, they really don't know what they want at the end of the day. They're just following this, you know, circus show. It's like a circus. And they just want to be a part of the circus. But at the end of the day, you really have to know what you want. And it has to be, you have to know what you want. I cannot stress that enough. Truly, what do you want? And if you really don't want it, then, you know, you got to give up on it, because you're not going to go, you know, you're not going to be able to affirm what you don't want in your core. You know what I mean? It's got to be at your core. What do I want? What really do I want? I'm telling you, law of attraction has its faults. I mean, yeah, it has its faults. When you look at the law of attraction, you know, it's just like an appetizer. But how many of you just here for the appetizer? You go in a restaurant, you just eat an appetizer. How many of you want the main course? I mean, you want a spread. I want the spread, Mr. Bahar. I don't want an appetizer. And that's what the law of attraction is. It just gives you an appetizer. But in that appetizer, you know, how many of you know the appetizers are good? And I'm not trying to make you hungry. But the appetizers are good, aren't they? You can get you a nice appetizer, and it'll satisfy you for a minute. For a while. And then you anticipate and you look forward to what? The main course. So the law of attraction in the appetizer phase, it really gives you some groundwork. Like, okay, what really do you want? And number two, this is more important than anything. Who do you listen to? And that's another fault that can be a stumbling block in your way. Because if you listen to this person, that person, you know, Christians have a lot of belief, but you know what belief fails for them? Is that they listen to the wrong people to really help them with their belief. I was one of them. How many of you know what I'm talking about? I was one of them. When you have the belief more than, I mean, the belief is at your core, and then you're listening to the wrong information. So your belief, you never go nowhere with your belief, because your information is faulty. Who you're listening to. These are things that you need to consider. Now, Cody said it in his lecture. You know, if you're going to stick with me, I mean, I'm telling you, you need to take that to heed and take it to heart and put it in your head. If you're going to stick with the Kohen, please stick with him. But if you're going to leave, then leave. And then don't turn around. You see, some of you already left, but you're here. You know what I mean? You listen to me, you do. Oh, you listen in. You listen to the lectures, but you already left. You have disassociated yourself with the Kohen, because you're listening to the Kohen's lectures, trying to find fault, or trying to find a trip up, or trying to find a trigger to where you can accuse or say any kind of negative things. You know what I mean? Some of you're here, but you already left. Why did you leave? Because you don't listen. You don't follow through. You don't take that action. Christians say, what did Jesus do? But Christians not doing what Jesus did. And that's they believe in Jesus, but they're not doing what Jesus did. They have the core concept down. Okay, well, what did Jesus do? I just need to replicate what Jesus did. But again, because of who they listen to, they don't get what Jesus really did. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a big stumbling block. And it's preventing them from, you know, truly believing and getting what they want. They believe in Jesus, but what is that at the end of the day? Because Jesus is asking you, what do you want? The Master Yeshua is asking you, well, what do you want out of this life that I've given you? That I've blessed you with? What do you want? Yeah, believe on me, but what do you want? Your belief on Jesus is not the end all. There's more to it than that, Miss Bob. Now Jesus said, okay, you have a disbelief on me. The Master Yeshua said, okay, now you know who I really am. Now, what can I do for you? Yet people are saying, well, what do you want me to do, Jesus? What do you want me to do, Yeshua? And Yeshua said, well, what do you want me to do for you? So it's a tit for tat. and you're knocking the ball across the net on each side, but nobody's winning the point, if you like tennis. Nobody's good. The ball just keep knocking on both sides. Nobody's winning the point. So to win the point, you have to know what you want. I mean, to your core. Not just saying it with some lip service or in a loud vocal tone, oh, I want this, or in a romantic tone, yeah, I want this, baby. This is what I want. No, you have to know that you know what you want. Come Shiloh or Sheol. Come Plague of Prosperity, you know what you want. And you don't take your eye off the prize. Wow. That's another verse that's been misquoted, misunderstood, because of who you listen to. Don't take your eye off the prize. Well, what is the prize? Is the prize Jesus? Can anybody answer that question? When it says don't take your eye off the prize, is the prize Jesus? Is that the prize? I submit to you, no. That's not the prize. The prize is whatever you want. What do you want? Vive la France, Hollywood. Shabbat shalom to you, my friend, my brother. The prize is what you want, not Jesus. But a lot of people, religion, have made Jesus the prize. He's not the prize, Mishpah. I mean, think about it for a minute. He's not the prize. Oh, Jesus paid the price. He didn't pay the price. You know, the price was already paid before Jesus even walked the face of this earth, by the way. We need to go back to Abraham. Do you understand? And so this is why it's important. Who do you listen to? The appetizer that you get with the law of attraction is so true. I mean, you can eat the appetizer. Eat it, please, enjoy it. But then you need to anticipate the main course. You need to expect the main course. You need to desire a main course for yourselves. You got to listen to the right people, the right person. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even say people. I would say person. Because when I look at Yeshua or Yehoshua or Joshua, as you may know him, how many people did Joshua follow? Did Joshua follow many persons? No. Joshua followed one person. Joshua was one person. There's not a lot of teaching on Joshua, but there should be. Because to me, Joshua is the pinnacle of the best student there will ever be. The best student you ever want to have. You want to do a study on students, look at Joshua. He's the pinnacle of the best student ever. Why? Because I look at Moses, and I want to talk about Moses today. And I don't want to keep you long today because I'm in Passover mode. Now I'm in unleavened bread mode, Baruch Hashem. And to me, it's all about celebrating. But I want to look at Moses, and I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this for a minute. I want to talk about the Moses factor. The Moses factor, because let's face it, the Moses factor in Passover analysis. Because let's face it. Let me ask you this question this day. Without Moses, would there be a Passover? Come on, I just want to hear it. I need to hear it. I need some participation. Without Moses, would there be a Passover? Would we be celebrating a remembrance this day without Moses? Now I understand why my son Nakshan was trying to say the name Moses. Listen, I'm learning from babies. Shane, y'all said, nah. Listen, let's think about this for a minute. Without Moses, would there be a Passover? Would we be celebrating the remembrance of these great events that occurred? I mean, this is history. To talk for your responses, by the way. The Moses factor in analyzing the Passover. I would submit to you that with Moses is huge. The Moses factor is huge within this awesome festival, the Passover, the festival of protection that we celebrate, that we will celebrate, or that we did celebrate, and ushers us into the unleavened bread. Now I'm gonna throw out a lot of P words this day, just like we've thrown out a lot of P words in our nations, right? Because get this, I want you to get this. What are they calling that package that they put together for all of Americans? Aren't they calling it the PPP? And I forget what the PPP stands for. Somebody could look it up. But it's called the Protection Something Plan that's going to give all these Americans all this money, all these businesses all this money, like Cohen was saying. The Cohen was telling us, can you imagine what other country, for you who live in another country, are paying people to stay home? They call it the PPP plan. And it's not the song that y'all talking about. We're not down with OPP. We're talking about PPP. They have a name for it. That's the acronym. They call it the PPP they named it in the briefings that they've been doing. But to shorten it, they call it the PPP. In the same way, I'm throwing P words at you today, is that without Moses, there would be no protection, amongst other things. And let's look at it even further. Without Moses, well, before I get into that, I want to throw out some golden nuggets that the Imhokma gave me this week. I'm not surprised that Nachshon's first word was mama. He's saying mama, 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 mother. Now, I'm pretty sure how many mothers we have in the room. If you're a mother, put up a capital M. Devorah said the personal protective equipment. No, not that, Devorah. I'm talking about the aid package that was put out. They have a name for that aid package that just went out on Friday, and everybody went to the banks and got these loans. They call it the PPP plan. And everybody's going to benefit from that. Baruch Hashem, Lottie-Dottie, in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. It's not for you mothers in the room. Now, for you mothers in the room that had children, was your child's first word mama? Was it mom, mama, mother, some kind of way, depending on what country you live in, it could be, whatever. China is ma. But was your child's first words mama? Think about that for a minute. I was pondering this. I was like, wow. France is more man. I hope I'm saying that right. More man in France. Stop that, Oliver. But let's look at France. Let's look at France for a minute. All my 4 children are dada. Wow, Baruch Hashem. Thank you, Ruth. Kedarava. But in France, Oliver, is the leadership there giving out free money for people to stay home? You getting incentive to just stay home. Are they giving you free? Are they giving you money to stay home? This is the PPP plan. And there's many phases that's going to come out. And I need to jump back on this point. Please take advantage. Not really. Some promises. Oh, well, Oliver throws another P in there for me. Good. To top of that, Oliver. I say, well, they're promising stuff, but, no action on the ground. That's another P word. Well, they start with a promise, but they need to back it up with some, some practical money on the ground. That's another P word we're going to deal with in a minute. PPP plan that's coming out. So you got to look at it. What other nation is throwing out money? Now, just to give you guys an update on what's going on, because I have skin on the ground in China. I love China, love the country. Love the people. Government kind of, they kind of shady, but the people are great. I love the people there. But my mother-in-law, talked to her last night. Guess what? There's a reinfection now, and she lives in the Wuhan province. And there's a reinfection. There is a big-time reinfection to where they shut down everything once again. Everything is shut down. No movie theaters, no nothing. Everything is shut down once again in her province, the Wuhan province, while this stuff kicked off. The Hebei province, excuse me. So, looks like China's going through a round 2. What can we learn from that? Listen. Who do you listen to? I hope you listen to the president and not all these conspiracy theories out there, because there's a lot of them going on out there. You don't have no time for conspiracy theories. If you can stay at home and please benefit. How many of you have benefited from the packages? Yeah. The stimulus package, whatever be, if you have benefited, if you have taken advantage, if you listen to the instruction that the Queen's giving you, You talk to, and listen, it's going to get even better. So while everybody's talking about peril and doom and gloom, get ready to be blessed. You're going to, I'm telling you, I wrote something down here. Take advantage of the doom and gloom and dominate. You need to do that. Because things are going to get a lot worse. Especially for all of you who have a home, real estate is getting ready to get hit next. So there's going to be packages coming out for real estate. Remember, I told you about the 99 cent gas. I told you about that a long time ago. That's coming. It's coming to a theater near you, and Hakoin's right. Probably one of the first places that will see it will be the state of Texas, if it's not already here in some of these little counties. It's probably already here. 99 cent gas. You see? So you Mishmahar, there's a lot of opportunities out here for you to benefit. Please call your credit card companies. Please call your mortgage company. It's going to get even better. If you want to refinance, hold out. Hold out. Because, you know, I'm telling you, interest rates going to go to zero. Don't worry. Just hold out. And right now, I'm telling you, the deferred payments. Hey, don't swallow your pride if you got it. You could be able to save some money here and put some money in the bank for that emergency fund, for that rainy day, for that investment on Microsoft. I'm telling you, you need to take advantage of some of these benefits. Luxury class said, why not? I'm telling you. Yes, I got a 2-month waiver, divorce for listening to the instruction of the Kohen. So you can have peace of mind. Luxury class said, take pressure, another P word. Take pressure off yourself and gain and regain more peace for yourself. A lot of great benefits out there, Mishpahah, and it's going to even get better. Why? Everybody running around here in fear. You're going to go, you're in Goshen, you're in Goshen. The plague don't affect you. Matter of fact, the plague is beneficial to you. Brother Christ says, I think things will surge good when things come back. Oh, indeed. And people will spend like crazy. That's coming. But you need to learn this. Just like Hakoin said in his lecture, listen to it. He said, listen, in life there's going to be some ups and downs. I'm paraphrasing. You're going to have to go through some bad times. When you look at Moses, didn't he not go through some bad times? Moses' life was about ups and downs. Now, if this can happen to the great teacher, the great priest, the greatest teacher ever, the greatest prophet ever, don't you think that, shouldn't you anticipate that happening to you as well, family? For you to go through the ups and downs in life. Moses was at the pinnacle of all things, and he was, put in chains. Rose up again just to be taken down. Ups and downs, ups and downs. But that never stopped him from his ultimate desire, is to get the children of Israel to the promised land. What do you want? Knowing that what do you want is going to come with a lot of situations and a lot of opportunities, albeit negative or positive. But always keep your focus. What do you want? So there's been a reinfection in China. That's real. Now, from what I see, one of the main things why there's reinfection is that they're not taking this thing seriously. So you get reinfected because you don't take it seriously. And you don't listen and do exactly what you're supposed to do. Now, let me tell you, I love money. I love money. I love money. And me and money have a friendship that's going to last forever. And listen, I want to say this as well. Not all money is good money. Listen to what I just said. Not all money is good money. So when you're driven and motivated by money, sometimes it can come back and bite you in the backside. You can look at it when you talk about nations, when you talk about countries, when you talk about people. How come he told you about it? You see, when you begin to, put money ahead of what's more important than your family, or more important than, the source that you serve, then it becomes a problem. When you become a slave to money, then it becomes a problem. See, this is why when the stock market crash hit, or when a financial crisis hit, people, like Hakoin said, they commit suicide. Why did they do that? It's because they elevated money to that level. You understand what I'm saying? Countries do it. and it affects them and it'll come back and bite them in the backside. So you have to be careful. Is that, yeah, money has its place, but don't let that usurp your family. I see it all the time. Do you know, in China, the report came out, and you know, God forbid this happens, and we get the opposite of this in America, but the divorce rate in China has went up like crazy. Now, you know, they're practicing social isolation. Matter of fact, they welding people in their house. They're welding the door shut to the house to where they can't get out. So they're finding that the relationships don't last. Or when you get to spend that time with that husband and that wife, these long periods of time, you realize you get to know one another. And you realize, oh, I don't like you. Or I don't like you either. I don't like your behavior. I don't like what you are. Because you get to spend time together. See, because the Chinese are used to just making money. They're all about going out and making money and work. I mean, if you know anything about the Chinese people, they're some workaholics. They love to work. Work. Money. I'm telling you, it's true. They built that way. Work. Outside of the family, leave the family. Luxury class and the Japanese must be the same way. I don't know. I can't speak for Japan. I don't have a Japanese wife, but I have a Chinese wife. But I can tell you this, is that they have that mentality of work. Money. Well, guess what happens when you have, be away from your family, separation from your family, because you're always working. Working. Maybe see your children maybe twice a year. If that. Because you're always working. But now that you're told that you have to stay home and be with your family and change some diapers and cook some food and do some things that's out of your routine, out of the norm, out of the conditioning that you've been taught to have. And you realize that you have to establish a relationship with your family. You find out that it's not working. That I don't like you. You don't like. We're not equal. We don't have things in common. I don't like your behavior. You don't like my behavior. And so the divorce rate in China has gone up, has skyrocketed. Now, China's a big test tube. Now, you take that, and a communist country, by the way, in that test tube. Now, you take that, and you bring that over here, and I want to show you the opposite. I'm seeing families come together. I'm seeing neighbors come together. I'm seeing cities come together. I'm seeing states come in, and you're seeing the same thing. You're seeing a unity happening. And it's a beautiful spirit. And it's beautiful to behold. You may notice it when you go to the grocery store. You may notice it when you're at the gas station. That, you know, there's sit down for that, Rabbi Zakar. Rabbi Zakar said he's seeing it. He said, look, there's a unity. And there's a love for one another. And there's compassion that's coming out of all this so-called peril and plague, blah, blah, blah. Do you see it? It's a beautiful energy. It's a beautiful energy. And I was listening to this, my business channel, I listen to it. And, you know, business channels, you know, they're all about the dollars and the cents. They're all about figures, numbers. And that's what you have to look at when we examine the situation in the nations, in our Passover mode, in our unleavened bread mode. At the end of the day, you have to look at the numbers. Jews, we number people. If it don't make dollars, it's not making sense. Y'all hear a woman can say, yeah, I see many people helping others. Indeed. I tell you, much innovation is going to spark from this. Much creativity is going to spark from this. And America is only going to become better and stronger, just like our president told us. We will come out of this stronger, more resilient, and definitely more wise. So when you look at the numbers, Mishpah, let's look at the numbers for a minute. And that's what's important. Is to look at the numbers. And when you look at your families, and you count your heads within your house, and you look at the numbers, and you look, now, I can only speak for Texas. But everybody's like in awe of Texas. You know, Texas is a big state, isn't it? But they're like, well, why does Texas have such few numbers? And they were talking to some of the leadership here in Texas. And one of the leaders in Texas, he's like, hey, I truly think Texas is blessed. We're blessed. Yeah, we have a lot of people per capita. We're a big country. Yet we're seeing less numbers of infection. The infection rate is low. He's like, man, Texas is just blessed. And we're blessed. We're just blessed. And I see that. I feel that. Because they were looking at, well, why does New York have, per capita, they have a lot of people, but they're such a small state, small city, yet the infection rate is very high, yet you go to Texas, and the infection rate is very low, comparatively. Now, there's a couple of factors that go into that, I believe. And one of them is that, number one, you got to listen to what you're told to do. And if everybody listens, that makes things so much better. They're talking about this with Japan as well, as luxury class brings up the Japanese. Listen, before Corona, the Japanese were walking around with face masks on. And so they're saying, well, the infection rate is so low, they're wise, because these people were wearing masks before Corona. They listen. Their leadership told them to wear masks, so they wear masks. Well, and it would help that they learn from history. When you get a Fukushima, you're going to want to put a mask on, right? Radiation. So again, they learned their lesson. Think about it for a minute. Countries that practice, tuberculosis and getting your shots for TB. They're looking at this and they say, wow, these countries that, practice this and not lax with the tuberculosis warfare, they're faring much better now. So we can learn from history, like Okoye said, like the president said. All of this is, situations so that we can learn from them. That's why we remember the Passover, so we can learn from it. We remember what our God, the God of Israel, did for his people with his mighty right hand. With the assistance and with the on the ground. I mean, again, there has to be somebody on the ground so that we can listen to somebody. There has to be leadership there in place, a human being, somebody you can touch and feel and look at. Because we can't look at presence. We can't look at, omnipresence or powers. More P words, huh? Can't look at that. What you can look at is representative. So you have to look at the numbers. You look at the numbers. You look at the numbers and the numbers tell you one thing. But again, you can change, again and again, you look at our government and they're throwing out all kind of numbers and everybody want to know how many people died this day and blah, blah, blah. These are just numbers at the end of the day. But again, these can be changed based upon your action. And again, you can take this and apply this to your meditations, your affirmations, and apply it to the perfect law. And it fits just as well. If you participate and practice what you're told, then it'll work for you. But again, it's all in whom do you listen to. Israel the matter of listening to one person, my goodness, is it, but you got to get that one person right. You don't want to be all over the place, here, there, and there, because all it's going to do is confuse you. And it's going to bitter your waters. And then you never get anything accomplished, and then you wonder why. Stick with one person, and I encourage your family, never leave the Kohen. Never leave them. Never leave them. Wearing a mask, Hakohen told you about that. At the end of the day, wearing a mask is not going to save you if you don't practice good hygiene, washing your hands, social distancing. What good is wearing a mask going to do at the end of the day? So wearing a mask is just another layer of defense. It's not the end all. Well, I have the mask on, so I understand why I got infected. Because you had your hand in your eye. The mask don't cover your eye, and you're wiping your eye with your hand. Your hand is filthy. What good is that going to do at the end of the day? Take advantage of the doom and gloom and dominate Mishpahah. take advantage of the doom and gloom and dominate. Like Kohen told you. Do you not think there's people prospering off of this plague right now? Think about that. Do you not think that there's people right now in this world that are prospering? Man, look, I see entrepreneurship budding up in my neighborhood here in San Antonio. There's this one guy. He bought all these masks from this Chinese store. These little face masks. Because, everybody's trying to run in fear of a face mask now. Everybody thinks the face mask is the new all and end all now. You get the face mask, you're going to be okay. So, he's profiting off of their fear. He took face masks and he pasted them on the side of his car. He parked his car on the side. Entrepreneurship at its rawest level. He parked his car on the side of the road. And, within seconds, within minutes, cars were backed up trying to buy his face mask that he was selling for about 2 or 3 times that he bought it from the Chinese store. And I'm pretty sure all of you have seen price gouging in some way, shape, form, or fashion as well. But people are profiting off of the fear of people. Think about it for a minute. They're making profit off of this. Think about it. So, I want you to understand, and that's one of the P words that I want to put out for Moses and his descendants and his family. Because again, if you follow Moses, this is what you're going to get. And the likeness of the Moses and his son, his brother Aaron and their sons, people asking me all this week, well, what do you think about, the corona? I said, I'm a Jew. I prosper. And I said it just like this. I prosper doing plague. I'm a Jew. I prosper doing plague. Just look at our history. I'm a Jew. I prosper doing plague. I profit doing plague. Come on now. You can use that if you want. But think about it. That's our history. During a plague, if you didn't die, you prospered. Number one, you gave thanks to the Creator, to the God of Israel, that He saved your life. He spared you from the plague. That's enough to give thanks for anyways, right? You've already prospered. You're still in the land of the living. I prosper doing a plague. I profit doing a plague. Think about it, Mishpahah. So take advantage of all these programs. And listen, it's not only America doing that. The world is infusing their economies. Think about it. This is not just America. Don't put us in a bubble. But the whole world is doing the same thing. So there are going to be opportunities out there. But again, if you don't ask, you won't get them. You can prosper during this plague. You can profit. And that's just what the Kohen is teaching us. He's teaching us how to do that. This is what a Kohen, a priest, will do. I'm going to name off some P's, and please, listen to them. Because again, they're all for your benefit and for your blessing. A priest will do what? A priest will help you profit. A priest will help you prepare. A priest will help you practical. Again, listen to all these P's. A priest will bring you prosperity. A priest will bring you and teach you how to pray. How many of you now have learned really how to pray? I have. I'm going to put up a capital P on that one. Now I really understand how I'm supposed to pray. Pray is meditation. It's affirmation. It's scripting. I know how to pray now, Mishpah. I know how to pray. Before, I didn't know how to pray. I had no clue how to pray, you see? I had no clue how to pray. Now I do. Baruch Hashem. It's been beneficial to me. Truly beneficial. Truly, truly, truly beneficial. Let's continue on. Learn a priest will teach you how to pray. A priest will teach you how to protect not only yourself, but give you protection. He's telling you, buy this soap. Do this. This is how you make this. Do this for your homes. Protection. You folks have brought plates. These will protect your home. I was telling that to my daughter. She's like, oh, Dad, what if the corona? How do we prevent the corona? I said, we're already protected. I said, look at these plates. These are what protect us. This house is protected. It's been protected before corona. Baruch Hashem. And it will be protected after corona. Baruch Hashem. And that segues me into my next P word that the priesthood will give you. Priesthood will give you peace. Think about that for a minute. The peace that passes all understanding. Yael said the priesthood and the priest help you plan. There's another P word in there. Help you plan. Do you see it? This is what Moses did. Now I understand why my son Nakshan, when he saw Moses on the Ten Commandments, Charleston Heston, he was getting all happy. Oh, Moses, he all animated. Trying to say Moses' name. You can profit from the priesthood. The priesthood will teach you to profit. The priesthood will teach you to prepare. The priesthood will teach you to plan. The priesthood will teach you to be practical. I tell you, my Passover was so sweet. Not all the pulling the hair out, this, that. It was such a practical Passover. Oh, man. Such at peace. Just beautiful. With your family. You're in the confines of your home. You remember. I'm telling you, such a practical Passover. I didn't have that before the priesthood. My Passover was such, I tell you, it was just drama. How many of you know what I'm talking about? My Passover before the priesthood, I'm telling you, my Passover was just like, it wasn't, I didn't have no peace. I was too busy trying to get all this stuff accomplished and jumping this hoop and that hoop and making sure this was done and the other and the third, up all night trying not to fall asleep. How many of you remember them days? You can thank the priesthood for them days that no longer exist anymore. Up all night, you're reading this all night long, and you done drunk so much wine that you're dozing off and you're falling asleep. How many of you remember them times? you know what I'm talking about. Rabbi Zakari said, yep, I remember them times. And you're trying to get this done, and your checklist is so long that, my goodness, you can't see the road for the trees, and you're like, my goodness, man. Yeah, I want to think your head be hurting. Telling you. When you're going through all of these, nonsense that doesn't make $1 out of 15 cents. Then the priesthood comes on the scene, and he makes it practical. He makes everything in your life practical. And he brings, I'm telling you, he makes it real to you. He makes the Torah real to you. And it's practical. And then he teaches you how to pray. And he teaches you how to protect yourself. And he gives you protection. And he gives you peace. And he gives you a plan. And he gives you positivity, infuses you with positivity. Because for so long in our lives, we've been fed negativity. Think about it. You've been conditioned to be negative. And it's hard to come out of that. And that's just not for, this time. That was in our ages and ages ago. That's the same method. Is that they continue to teach you. I see it with communist China. We're watching the Ten Commandments. My wife was like, honey, how come the Hebrews never got up and said and wanted to fight back and wanted to break these chains and wanted to come out of Egypt? How come they just didn't do it, the Hebrews? I said, the same reason why the Chinese people don't do it today is that the Hebrews were conditioned to be afraid. They were conditioned to fear. And I told her, I said, it's the same thing that's going on in China today. How come the Chinese people don't raise up and say, quit killing us? Because believe me, that's just what's happening. And just like I said, the Chinese government, you give two hoots about, how many Chinese people they have. Because they have a billion plus people there, so what? People die. So how come the people don't rise up and say, well, no, enough of this killing. We're not going to do this anymore. It's because the people are conditioned to be afraid. Do you see it, Mishpahah? So do you see the parallel with our Hebrews in Egypt? They were conditioned to be afraid. So when one man stands up and comes along, I thought about it. So when Moses comes and says, no, it's not going to happen this way. Your God is going to free you. Do you not see the similarities today? When one man came along, Mishpahah, and said, no, I'm going to translate the Torah this way. I'm going to, give you, your Bible and your history and tell you who you are. One man did that. It was one man for me. I don't know about it for you, but it was one man that did that. One. The son of Aaron, Rabbi Simon out the Kohen in the gate. The priest came along and said, no, it's this way. You've been doing it that way for so long. It's wrong. But the mindset of the people was the same as the mindset of our forefathers at ancient times, coming out of Egypt. The same mindset, same conditioning. No, we've been doing it this way got to be right. No, this man can't be right. I'm not going to follow him. And so they leave. They don't want the protection. They're happy where they're at. They're happy making bricks. They're happy making somebody else wealthy and not seeing the wealth in themselves. Do you see that? That's what's going on today. And a lot of people, they miss their mark because they don't realize within the family how wealthy they really are. So when I say, and I'm telling you I see this, is that, you know, you may be here, but you already left the Kohen. It's because you're keeping that same old conditioning with you. How could this one man be right? Isn't that not what our forefathers were saying? Well, who is Moses? Who is Moses to say, how is Moses going to take us out? Blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And they missed it. And they died in their sin. And they died in what? Slavery. Another S word. Because freedom came and they rejected freedom. Because peace came and they rejected peace. Yet they were saying peace all the time. Practicality came and they rejected practicality. Prepare came and they rejected prepare. Profit came and prosperity came and they rejected prosperity and they rejected profit. Prayer came and they rejected prayer. Why? No, because you're supposed to pray this way and you're supposed to say this way and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And look where they are today. They're not here. Have no plan. They just running with the masses. They just running with consensus. Because consensus says, consensus can't be wrong on prayer, mon frere. Consensus can be way wrong. I'm going to stick with the priesthood. I'm going to stick with my likeness of a Moses. Our Kohen is our Moses today. Moses is dead and gone and sleeping with our forefathers in the bosom of Abraham. But our likeness of a Moses, our son of Aaron is with us today. Stick with them. You will find peace. If you don't have a plan, you will get one. You will learn how to plan for yourself. What's part of the plan, Rabbi? What's talking about the plan? I'm talking about what the priest has been asking you for so long. What do you desire? What do you want for yourself? Well, I'm waiting on God to tell me what I want. Well, again, wrong conditioning. You should know what you want for yourself. God is saying, well, what do you want? You got to really say, well, what do you want? Do you know, many of the Hebrews, they were crying out from slavery, but none of them didn't want freedom. They were just crying because they were enslaved and because they were working really hard. And there was a lot of injustices going on. Moses had to come and infuse freedom into the people. Think about this for a minute. The people weren't saying, oh, I want to be free. It was just, man, look, this work is hard. Why I got to work so hard? See, they were conditioned and they were just focusing on the problem, not a solution. Moses came and brought the solution. You see, the Moses factor is very important to understand. Moses had struggles, but he turned them into successes. Same way with us. The Hebrews had slavery, but they couldn't see beyond slavery to freedom. They saw the plagues, and they also saw how they can profit and have prosperity within the plagues. Moses taught them that. Yeah, these things are going to happen in Egypt, but don't worry, they won't happen to you. The same thing I would say to you today. Yeah, these things are going to happen to nations, but they won't happen to you. Yeah, these things might happen to your neighbor, but they won't happen to you. Baruch Hashem. Should we not be giving thanks for that? Should we not be lifting up and esteeming the name of the God of Israel? So much more so, we should lift our heads high to the heavens and give thanks and raise our hands and give thanks. Not only remember, but show gratitude and give thanks for the Master dispersing and scattering you and placing you where you are so that you can desire and you can want and you can dream and you can have vision and not just be told, well, it's just what it is and that's what it is and that's what it will be. No, that's not. That's the conditioning that you've been taught. Is I'm a slave, I'm going to always be a slave. Super, you're not a slave. You're super. You're successful. You're not a slave. No, I'm going to be poor, I'm going to be poor. I'm always going to be... No. You're prosperous. You're a prophet. That's what you are. You're not poor. But again, look, one man. Only one. I would encourage you this day is to stick with that man. Because, listen, just because you're out of Egypt doesn't mean that it's done there. You got to still make it to the promised land. And they just didn't you just can't use Moses to get you out of Egypt. We saw that formula work in our history. We saw that formula put in action and put to work. And it was a total failure, wasn't it? Because I believe the strangers that was among them that did come out and the Hebrews that decided to come out of Egypt, because remember, there were a lot of Hebrews that did decide to come out of Egypt. Because they were so conditioned to what Egypt had to offer that they were happy with that. And so be it. But there's a lot of people that have used Moses to come out of Egypt and never made it to the promised land. Matter of fact, they died along the way, or they went back to Egypt. Am I right or wrong? You know folks that, were at the feet of the Kohen today, they're no longer here. They are no longer here. They weren't here and they're not here. See, but there's still folks that are here, but you're still not here. You're not with the Kohen. Totally not with them. You have another agenda for yourself. You have a better plan. You have a better way to attain peace. You have a better way to be more practical. And so follow it. See where it gets you. See where it gets you. Does it bring you to what you want or what you desire? Some folks don't even know what they want, don't desire. Because you haven't got that far. Be into yourself to really realize what you want. You're just following rote, whatever is out there, that's what you're going to do. And that's not a way to live. Learn from our Passover. Remember our Passover. But always remember this, is that the Moses effect. The Moses factor. Without Moses, there is no Passover. Yes, there are going to be struggles. But struggles lead to success. Moses struggled. If you break down the life of Moses, you'll see Moses had a lot of suffering, but he had even more success. Moses didn't take the Hebrews into the land flowing with milk and honey, but Moses was very successful. Why? Because he left a legacy. He had a great student that took him in. Moses didn't do it, but Moses' student did. So it is like Moses did take him in. Anyway. But there's a responsibility that comes along. The family, we must be responsible for our part. We must be responsible. So Shabbat Shalom to you. We must be responsible for what we must do. Everybody has a role to play within the family. Focus on your role that you need to play. Don't try to go outside of your role. Just focus on what you need to do. What do you want for yourself? What do you need to do? You have the instruction. You have the priesthood here to give you instruction and guidance on how do you get to your desire, to your want. And then just roll with it. Come Shiloh or Sheol, roll with it. Come hell or high water, just roll with it. Come plague or prosperity, just roll with it. But just like Root Source's tag name is here, it has to be rooted within you. Within self. What you want. Anybody try to go lift up a tree outside in the garden, in their backyard? Anybody try to do that lately? Try to lift it up? You'll find that very difficult to do. Why? It's because that tree is rooted. Very difficult to move. Make your desires and your affirmations the same way. Well, how do I get it to be that way? Well, I'm just this fledgling seed. That's where your scripting comes in. That's where your affirming comes in. That's where your meditating comes in. To where you recondition that you're in your inner man, you recondition that conscious, the subconscious, the logic, you recondition it to your condition. See, we talk about conditioning that we receive. Now we must recondition ourselves back to whatever standard, default setting we want. And you can do that. But it requires a habitual change. It becomes a way of life, the way you live. It becomes a lifestyle. Meditation becomes a lifestyle. Affirming becomes a lifestyle. Scripting becomes a lifestyle. Visualization becomes a lifestyle. Do you get it? And then before you know it, it's second nature. And before you know it, what you imagine is now. That's what it is. That's what it is. So, when you start to institute time into this, remember, time is not your ally. You must totally alleviate the time factor, because then time will creep in, Father Time will creep in and become a stumbling block in your way. Because it'll say, whoa, you've been doing this for a long time and it hadn't worked, so you should stop. Oh, it's been a week and nothing has happened, you need to quit. You just keep plugging away at it. Keep plugging away. I mean, how many times are you going to go around Israel? I mean, how many times are you going to circle? You know, circle the encampment as many times as it takes. You're going to do it until you get it right. Until you win. Until you are successful. Until your desire is met. Until your want is met. Until your dreams become reality. You have the ability to change your world and make it real. Take those dreams, change them into what you want, and make it a real physical manifestation of a spiritual principle, or of a thought, of a dream, of a thought. Can you imagine? Of a thought. Imagine that. Yael 1:10 said, better tag that thought and send it on its way. A thought. What are you thinking about most of the time? What are you feeding yourself most of the time? Is it positivity? Is it negativity? You need to look at that. Analyze it. Analyze it. Analyze it. I'm hearing some great questions come through here. And what students are asking the Kohen, like, hey, how can I just, live in continuous, chakra cleaning? See, these are great questions. Because they're trying to better themselves. Trying to get better. And better and better and better at self. And that's beautiful. That's the whole beauty of it. But you need to know who to listen to get better at self. And unfortunately, many people are just listening to all these different folks. Who do you listen to is going to be key. And then you have to have the ability, you have to be able and willing to accept change. Because some things going to have to change. I mean, that's a big change going from, our ancestors, the Hebrews, making bricks, to walking out of Egypt like Mr. T with all this gold and all these things around you and all these possessions and all this, that, the other, the third. That's a big change. when for probably majority of your life, your whole life, you were born into brick makers, and you saw brick makers die, and more brick makers coming. That's all you knew about, making bricks and making somebody else wealthy. Now you have to change that and say, I am wealthy. I'm going to make myself wealthy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to make myself happy. I'm going to give myself peace. I'm going to give myself love. And that's what it takes. And you tell yourself whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I'm going to listen to the Kohen. I'm going to stick with the Kohen. I'm not going to leave the Kohen. I'm going to do what the Kohen tells me to do. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it into action. You got to, hey, what did Yael want of the tent? To have a great plan. But the plan is not put into action. What good is that? What good is it to have a great plan? I mean, you have the best plan in the world, but you never put it into action. And yet you see everybody around you, they're putting things into action. Maybe they don't have a great plan, but they trying and they putting things in action. Some things work, some things don't work. But they're trying, plan after plan after plan. They're not trying, they're actually doing. See, because I don't like that word try. Well, I'm going to try it. Well, what, are you going to try it for a week and then you're going to give up? No, you're going to say, like my forefather said, we're going to do it. They didn't say we're going to try it. We're going to try to obey God. They said we're going to do it. You see? We're going to do it. Period. Luxury class said try is weak. Yeah, indeed it is weak because trying already leaves you the capability to get out. Well, I tried it. You already gave up. No, you say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this business. I'm going to do this relationship. Christians say it. Again, I told you at the beginning of the lecture, Christians say it all the time. What did Jesus do? But they're not doing what Jesus did. That's their problem. That is their whole problem in a nutshell. They come with the right question. Well, what did Jesus do? Boy, I tell you, that's a great question, right? But when you find out what Jesus did, then they don't do what Jesus did. You see? And that's the problem. And this is why their belief system is wrong. It's like, it's faulty. And that's why I had to jump out of Christianity, you see. Look, the class says, JDT, Jesus did Torah. What did Jesus do? Well, he did Torah. Then I need to do Torah. Well, where do I go to be, remember, who do you listen to? Where do I go to be taught the Torah? The books of Moses. You see, again, they have a question, but they don't follow up the question with another question, and another question, and another question, to get to the point of, okay, now I know I have my plan. And again, sometimes they're listening to the wrong person. Do you go to the Pope for the Torah? Do you go to the pastor for the Torah? You see, who do you listen to? I mean, they may have good intentions, but they total failures when it comes to, success rate. When it comes to Torah, there's no success rate in that because this is outside their jurisdiction. You want to remain within your jurisdiction. That's very important. And we as Jews, we as the people of the books, we stay within our jurisdictions. And that's where your blessing will come. Stay within your jurisdiction. Meaning what? Who do you listen to, Jew? As a Jew, you should be listening to the priesthood, the sons of Aaron. That's your instruction. That's your instruction source. Like root source's name, their tag. That's the root source. It's the priesthood. And I'm going to close with this. See, because the priesthood is going to give you this. The priesthood will give you profit. The priesthood will give you preparation. The priesthood will give you practicality. The priesthood will give you prosperity. The priesthood will give you prayer. The priesthood will give you protection. And the priesthood will give you peace. My goodness. That's what makes another P word. That's what made my Passover so peaceful. I tell you. With my son, because the priesthood gave me a plan, and now my son is here with me, 7-month-old, Baruch Hashem. Boy, that was a plan and a half, Baruch Hashem. But I had struggles, but I had a lot of successes to get to that son being here and eating lamb with me at the table. Yeah, you're right, y'all wanted to. And last night we did have a party. And today, we're going to eat some more unleavened bread, Baruch Hashem. I'm having in the kitchen with me to teach him how to make unleavened bread, Baruch Hashem. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You know, I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to do this. I didn't get this opportunity as a child. As a child, Mr. Hart, I celebrated not a one Passover. Not a one Passover. And I say that in all humility. My parents did the best that they could do with what they knew. But I celebrated not a one. How many of you in this room as a child celebrated a Passover? But I can tell you all about some Easter bunny and some Easter egg, Easter egg hunt and golden egg. I can tell you all about that. I'm an expert at that. Now I'm an expert at the Torah. I can tell you about some Easter bunny, hippity hoppity Easter bunny, hippity hoppity Easter. I can tell you about some Easter, man. And this is the beauty of it. This is why you don't knock where you come out of. What did Moses come out of? Moses come out of the most heathenistic nation he was brought up in Egypt, wasn't he, Mr. Bob? Don't knock what you come out of. That's what's going to make you stronger and make you a better leader and make you more compassionate because you've been there and done that. How many of you used to Easter egg hunt? Out for the Easter bunny, Easter basket. You was coloring those eggs. Come on now. Don't forget where you come from. But that even makes you now better as you are expert now in the Torah. That even makes you even a better person because you can sympathize and empathize with those that were doing that. You can have mercy on those people, you see. Think about that for a minute. Don't say, well, God, why did you put me in Christianity? Master Yahweh, why did you put me in Catholicism? Why you didn't rescue me earlier? The Master was protecting you. Do you see the protection in that? Give thanks. Shoot, I don't need Easter to have some chocolate. I don't need no holiday to have chocolate. I don't need that. I don't need the excuse of an Easter bunny to have some chocolate. Well, that's for sure. That's just me speaking personally. So consider these things going forward. You see, we got to examine these things. Moses came out of Egypt. I can guarantee you, Egypt was the most heathenistic nation that you want to be in. Idolatrous nation. And guess what? That's where Moses grew up. Go figure. Okay? So don't knock it. Don't knock where you came out. You waste energy on the past. Your past is now. Use your past to help you be more compassionate, more loving towards another. Having more long suffering. Wow. Been there, done that. More gracious, more thankful. So on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Continue. Hey, for those of you who getting your Passover ready, hey, remember, don't come to our festival, unleavened bread and Passover, upon us. Don't come to our festivals empty-handed. You all know that. You all know how to deal and bring energy towards the Kohen and on that front. Don't forget. Don't forget also about our, your ransoms. You all dealt with your ransoms, your shekel, half a shekel. Make sure you don't forget about that as well. Do the necessaries. Do what you need to do so that you can be successful, so that you can be prosperous, so you can be at peace with yourselves. Baruch Hashem. And remember, I'm going to close with this. Look to take advantage of what the nations your nation is offering for you. Look to prosper. While everybody's running in fear, doom and gloom, Israel, look to prosper. You're in a total different city. Look to prosper. Look to profit your family at this time. Believe me, it does. When you say, well, oh, that's kind of crude, you're prospering off of somebody else's failure. That's life, the ups and downs of life, isn't it? The struggles and the successes. Cohen talked about this in his lecture. I'm telling you, listen to it. He said, some people are, bawling and crying their eyes out because they lost everything. There's a flip side to it. There's other people that have gained a lot of money. And believe me, I'm telling you, the funeral homes here, man, they're licking their chops right now. They're licking their chops. They're making all kind of money right now. In America, if you were a funeral home owner, you're making a killing. You're making a killing. Success off someone else's failure. That's rudimentary. That's just life, isn't it? But what I would encourage you to understand this day is whether you up or down, you're still a winner. And just like Cody said, he gave me that analogy. Well, when people were just selling the stock market, when they were just making these historical highs, guess what they're doing right now? I'm telling you. They probably about 10 mansions. They probably about 10 mansions already off of that. This steep fall. You see, what goes up must come down and vice versa. But what you need to understand as the people of the books is that we're consistent throughout. Ups and downs don't matter because we profit in both. Don't we? You have that mindset. Think like that. You're already a winner. You don't need to wait on the chicken dinner. You're already a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. You're already a winner. You don't have to wait on the chicken dinner. You win. But you must look for the opportunities in every situation. There's a blessing in every situation. Every situation that confronts you, you can gain from it. I learned from Christianity. I learned a lot from Catholicism. I learned from that. This even makes me a better Torah expert. And it's going to even make me even a better Torah expert. Because I've learned is that, look, there's humanity out here. There's a lot. Listen, if I'm going to be a great Torah expert, I must have some understanding on these religions that are out there. And what better thing to do is to have been in some of these religions at one time or another. So when I come outside of religion, I don't know what this person is going to do. So when I come outside of religion, I know exactly what it is to be outside it. Think about that. So on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'll say Shabbat Shalom to you. And Shalom Shalom to you as well. Okay, Mishpachah? Oh, the name of the ingredients of what's in that, okay, let me turn it over to Cody. Maybe we can give you the ingredients so to make your own dough.
Yeah, Chadasha for that. Chadasha for that, Rabbi Kefa. I just bounced him out. This is somebody trying to grab the mic. Okay, so the ingredients, three ingredients were, you need alcohol, you need witch hazel, and you need aloe vera, pure. Purest you can get, the better. Those are the three ingredients that you need, and they will help you to make your own. And at this time, if you want to make sanitizer and sell it, great, go do that. Make money out of it. If you want to make masks and sell it, great, go do that. Make money for yourself. Don't see this as a doom and gloom. This is an opportunity for you to do something, help somebody, go do it, make money. Companies are making masks, they're making millions of dollars out of it, billions of dollars. Companies are making sanitizers, they're making billions of dollars. Think about it. It's an opportunity. It depends how you see the situation. You see it in the right way, you can make money out of it. Now, remember that, before me, many people came. And many people, probably you've been with many teachers before me. And they what did they teach you? I heard it with my own ears. People teaching, beating other people up about the Torah, or you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right, and they're using the the law of Moses to beat people up. They're using Christianity to beat people up. They're putting them into hell and they're putting them into sin and all of that garbage. I saw all of that. And then I decided, you know what? We need a new translation. We need a new translation of our Bibles, because all these translations are littered with errors and misteachings and all sorts of problems. And I was a person that came along and, changed everything. I brought the form of Torah. You will not see this Torah being taught anywhere. You're not going to see rabbis teaching this. You're not going to see pastors even talking about it. But you're going to see me teaching it. And this is what the Torah, this is what the Master Yeshua, if he's your rabbi, if he's your teacher, this is what he taught. He did not teach a form of Torah that was, with the people. Yeah, the people had a form of Torah. They did. And guess what that was? Bondage, more bondage and slavery, of the mind. And that's what the people wanted. And some people like ritual. Some people love ritual. Some people want to remain in bondage and slavery. And 80% of our people, if you don't know history, 80% of our people did not leave Egypt. They died because they wanted to stick to their Egyptian ways. And the 20%, they wanted to stick to their bondage and idolatry that they were in with Torah. Yeah, you can be in bondage and idolatry with Torah as well. Depends which Torah you follow. And they were with that Torah. When Moses came along, they're like, no, we don't want to believe Moses. Who's Moses? He was brought up in an Egyptian household. So they did not care to listen for him either. They didn't listen to him. Most of these people, majority didn't listen to him. And they were gone. And so I don't expect majority to stay over here. I expect the majority to leave as well. Because they'd rather stick with their rituals, with their, BS, and with their garbage that they're taught in churches and synagogues world over. The churches and synagogues teach garbage world over, and they stay with it. And you know what? It only enriches the rabbis and the people behind there. That's the only people it enriches. And the people, they're left holding the bag. And that's the problem. And that's what people want. That's what they receive. But I am giving you something totally different to what Jesus was also teaching, what I'm teaching you. But guess where Jesus ended up? 6 foot under. then he was resurrected, right? Because they killed him. They didn't like his teachings either. So don't think that, Jesus was teaching that they were all lovey-dovey. They were not. They hated him as well. And so then he ended up dead. And then he was resurrected. So, whether you believe the New Testament or not, that's another matter. But I wanted to speak some words that he spoke. He said in book of John, in chapter 6 actually, chapter 6 and verse 44, he said that no man can come to me except the Abba, which has sent me, draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. What does he mean by that? Is he technically talking about resurrection? No. He is talking about the manifesting process. He is talking about that you will not be drawn to this method unless God draws you to it. He draws you to it, and then guess what? You will start manifesting in your life. You will start changing your life. You will start getting better. And everybody's going to be talking about, oh, did you see Peter over there? He just managed to buy a brand new car. How did he get his brand new car? He didn't have the money and suddenly he's got a brand new car. Suddenly he's got a new house. Guess what? This is what Jesus was talking about. And this is what you're being taught. Because you can manifest that new car. You can manifest that new house. You can get that $1 million. Because one student did. So can you. Now the question is, are you willing to follow for a season? Or are you going to be here for 3 months and then gone after that? And some people have done exactly that. There were rabbis who we had a class of many people turn up at Rabbi Zachariah's city. And I taught over there back in 2016 and back in 2015. Guess what? More than half of those people have gone. They have left. And they were supposedly rabbis with us. And these are supposedly teachers. Well, if the teachers don't stay, how are the students going to stay? How are the students going to stay? Think about it. These are people who are nothing more than buffoons, if you ask me. I call them buffoons. You know why? Because they were given the best of teachings in this earth and they didn't adhere to it. So what do you call people who don't adhere to the teachings? Well, they're not physically they were not buffoons, but spiritually they are buffoons. Buffoon is a term we use in England. Buffoon basically means, we don't use it for a monkey, we use it for a term which means that you're an idiot. You don't follow. That's what the British use that terminology for. They say you're a buffoon, meaning that you're foolish. You're foolish, you did not follow. They were given such good teaching and they did not adhere to it. So bad. But there you go. That's what happens. They don't want to stay. You see, they want to go back to their rituals. They'd rather go back to their churches. They'd rather go back to their families and do nothing. Today, those people are nothing. I'm telling you, I have reports. Some of those people are nothing today. But yet, they left all those teachings. And the people who stuck with me, Rabbi Kefa stuck with me ever since he came. And there's some other people. Rabbi Zachariah stuck with me. There's other rabbis who stuck with me. Look at their lives today. If you followed, and the big if you followed the method and you listened and adhered to it. And this is why I went back to my student, and that student's been with me a long time in Manila. And so I asked that student, I said, what did you write? What did you do? And how did you, why didn't you receive a result? I refuse to believe that you do something for a year and you can't receive a result. And then I was, then that student gave me the writing, and it was all wrong. She had written it wrong, she had spoken it wrong, and she did it wrong. So I then had to sit there for the next 30 minutes explaining to her how she should be writing it, what she should be doing, and how she should be bringing it to pass. And I'm pretty sure that now she's doing that. But, if you're going to sit there in a corner, you're not going to call me, you're not going to write to me, and you're going to think I'm too busy to answer you when I didn't say that, then how can I help you? That was her excuse. Her excuse was, oh, I thought you might be busy and not answer me. Actually, no. I have never, ever in my life, since the invention of email, by the way, since the invention of email, I have never ever taken more than a day to answer somebody, unless I'm out of the country, unless I'm traveling, then I might not answer you. But if I'm here, in one space, I always answer people. Doesn't matter even if it's to say no, if it's to say yes, I always answer. And right now, you're going to get a lot of people, scammers come up and say, oh, I'm homeless and, oh, I have to pay my rent. Can you send me rent money? I had somebody write that to me yesterday as well. And you know what I told them? If you don't stop writing, I'm going to report you to the police. Yeah, there were scammers. So you're going to get scammers coming up as well to say to you that, oh, I haven't got food to eat and I've got little children and can you please send me money? And I told them that this is not a charitable organization dishing out money for you. So you're going to have the scammers as well during this time, because it's what's going down right now, right? So this is why I say, is follow the instructions. They didn't listen to Jesus. They didn't listen to Moses. Do you think these people today, the ones that left us, do you think they're going to listen to Jesus or Moses? No, they didn't listen to neither, or the disciple down the road. But they listened to their own heart, their own wish, and today they've got nothing to show for it. So don't be like those people. Make a commitment to yourself. Make a commitment to yourself that you're going to love yourself and you're going to follow through with your life's goals and desires. You make that commitment today. You write it. You say, you take an oath and you say, I'm going to take an oath on this time that I'm going to make a commitment with myself, that I'm going to see myself through this, and I'm going to see myself coming out the other end with all my desires, with all my manifestations. I'm not going to give up. When you have that kind of can-do attitude, that's when you will succeed. When you have the can-do attitude of being with a teacher. Do you know, somebody wrote to me today, a Muslim guy, all the way from China, and he's from Pakistan. You know what he said to me? I was shocked to hear him. You know what he said to me? He says, are you Rabbi Simon Al-Tafa Cohen? I said, yes, I am the person speaking with. And he said, I am your student. I have been following you for many years, and I'd like to learn from you. A Muslim guy came to me saying that to me. You know how many Muslim guys follow my teachings? You'll be absolutely shocked to hear that. Many Muslim guys follow my teachings. Not just one, many. And they write to me in their different languages. And I respond to them. I don't say to them, oh, you're in a wicked religion and you're going to die in sin and you're going to go to hell. I don't say that to them. I teach them what I teach you, because they too can benefit out of it. Because they already have the law of Moses. They already have 50% of it. All they got to do is understand the other 50%, and they are there. They already have 50%, so they are easier to teach. I find Muslims are the most easiest to teach these things because they already follow the law, and they are hardcore law followers. They're not. You don't have to teach them. You don't have to tell them. They already know, and so they do. And so this is why I say to you that you are here. You are so fortunate. I was saying yesterday here. I was saying that we are such a fortunate people. Baruch Hashem, Yahweh, we're in America. Look at our president. Look at what he's doing. Look at all the acts he's enacting, executing this act and that act of war acts to make sure that people have food, to make sure people have medicine, to make sure masks are there in the hospitals for doctors, for nurses, medicines. This president has gone to no stone has left unturned, and is pulling up everything out of the book, and enacting it out and causing companies to produce things. And some companies are very compassionate. Some motor companies, car companies have started to produce respirators because they are needed. Thousands of them are needed because many Americans are sick right now in New York and other places. So my point is this, that as Rabbi Kefa was saying to you, China's got a high divorce rate right now. It wasn't the case. Right now they have it because people don't like each other, or maybe they can't go see their girlfriend. But I tell you, in China, they had their marriage and they had their girlfriend. Yeah, many Chinese men, they had their wife and they had their girlfriend. And they would go look at their girlfriend privately, secretively, and wife didn't know about it. But guess what? Today, they have to stay indoors, and the girlfriend is on her own, and the man is with the wife, and he don't like the wife. And what's going to come next? Divorce, of course. So this is a problem. And here we have in the West, families are coming together, families are looking out for each other, neighbors are looking out for each other. This is all part and parcel. It's good. So I say this, I always say this, anything that God brings is always good in it. It's always good that will come out. It's never bad. It's never the end of the world. Some people in some other countries are saying, oh, it's the end of the world, and some are saying Jesus is coming, and some are saying, it's the end of the world and we're all going to die. But no, it's none of that. Jesus didn't turn up, by the way. Jesus did not turn up, and he's not here, and it's not the end of the world either. So we continue to march on in Torah, we continue to march on with the right attitude, and we learn, and what we don't know we learn. We learn and we apply, and some of us will come out great people, with great name, out of this. And some will probably come out little bruised, but you'll have the opportunity to come out great. You have every opportunity to come out the greatest on this earth. You can leave a legacy to your children. You can leave a legacy to your children's children, but it's how you act here. If you were, Rabbi Kefa could have easily said, 10 years ago, or before we met, Rabbi Kefa could have easily said, you know what, another teacher, forget it, I'm going to waste my time. I'm going to stick to my Catholic church. I'm going to stick to, John Hagee out there. I'm going to stick to those guys. And he probably would have been still, searching and still, from fumbling from here to there. But he said, no, I'm going to stick to this man. I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to do what he told me. I'm going to follow it through. And look at where Rabbi Kefa is today. Rabbi Kefa has gone from strength to strength. Yes, he went through some troubled times. We all will go through troubled times. He went through troubled times, but he came out strong man, strong family, a beautiful son, and more to follow. A beautiful daughter, beautiful son, beautiful wife, everything great. Now, that's because he persevered. So learn to persevere. Don't just disappear, oh, well, I don't feel like it today, and, yesterday I had a nice mood, today I have a bad mood, today I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to follow Rabbi Simon because something he taught, I don't like it. See, that's the attitude that most people out there have. Remove those attitudes, learn, apply, and be successful. And when you're not successful, then come to me and tell me that you're not successful. Every person in my family, and I'll tell you one thing, every person in my family I taught, today they are sitting with cars and houses. In England, today, they've got cars and houses in England. And, they are not from any particular faction. Muslim people. My family's majority of them are Muslim. So my point is this, that every person that I taught, right, they followed through with my teachings, and today they are sitting on cars and houses. What about those that didn't follow? Well, guess what? They are lining up at Social Security. Yeah, they are lining up. Okay, so you have a choice. You can line up at Social Security, or you can follow my teachings and be the master of your life. Now, where do you want to be? Moses, was called out to bring a people to freedom. And I've been called out to bring a people, just like Moses, to freedom of mind, state, and body. Otherwise, you're enslaved to this religion and that religion and all over the place. So, follow through with what you're taught. Follow through with it. Don't give up just because, oh, my hand is tired. I'm writing it 3 times. Now my hand is tired. Now I won't do it. Be consistent. There are a number of ways to write. I want to write my second book. I started it actually, but I'm not rushing through it because I want to get results from my testing, from my students' testing, so I can actually put, results in there and say, you know what, we did it this way, and we found this method is better than this. So I don't want it to just be another book. I want it to be a book that will change everybody's life. So it will take time to come out, but when it comes out, it will be something to, behold. So this is why I say that for right now, you're personally receiving the teachings live from me. So follow through with what I say. Now, by the way, since we last spoke, I do have another meditation that I made, and I don't remember quite what I named it, but let me just have a quick look. What did I name it? Let's see, what did I call it? I'll have to, because I don't remember the name that I gave that particular meditation, but I will find the name, and it may not be today, but what I will do, actually, I know what I did. I didn't actually record it. I just did it for myself, and I just, it's actually still with me. It's not public yet. So what I will do, here it is. Rabbi Simon, Powerful Awakening of Self-Meditation, 30th March 2020. Let me just quickly play this a little bit. Negativities that you hold back. Okay, yeah. So I did actually name it. It's called Powerful Awakening of Self-Meditation. So that I've dated it 30th March 2020, and I'm going to put it into my meditation folder because obviously it's not there. It's in a separate folder. So this is a meditation that I devised recently. 30th March is like pretty recent, and I went through it. It's a brilliant meditation session I made, and it's supposed to be really, really good, but I want you to take it. I want you to test it. I want you to report back on it. Because for me, it's done me wonders, and for you, I don't know because I haven't given it out to anybody yet. So I'm probably the only one who's using it. So I would say that write to me, and I will, send it to you. Just say that you want the new meditation, and I will send it to you. It was created on 30th March, and it definitely will help you more than where you are. Right now, where we are is we have the midbrain meditation. It's come up really great. A lot of people love it and are really greatly benefiting out of it. The second one that I gave out was the third eye chakra activation. That one, some people have asked for it and they're doing great with it as well. Now this is the next one, by the way, and so I would suggest that if you are practicing the third eye chakra activation, then continue doing that for at least a month. At least for a month do it. With the midbrain activation, do that for at least a month as well. And if you want to try this new one, then what I would suggest is if you do the midbrain in the morning, then do this in the evening, only one time, in a day. So then you must do it for a consistent period of time. This is not like, hey, I'm going to do it for 3 days of the week and now I'll give up and now suddenly I'll become rich. No, it's not like that. If you're going to follow through with the meditation, I always will encourage you to do one in the morning and one in the evening. And if you've got time, because right now everybody's got time and everybody's locked in, so you might as well do it in the mid-afternoon as well. So, but I will be doing another meditation, by the way. I will be doing another one regarding potentially money. But before I embark on that one, I think that I will continue to use this for at least a month and see the results, and then I will encourage you to also, if you want to take this, you can email it, email me at shimon63@yahoo.com, and I can send it to you. But remember, don't give up the other ones that you're doing. Try to add this into one slot in the evening if you can, because then you can gauge the difference of how your persona is and how you're managing and how is working in your life. Because if you do too many things at one time, you won't know which is working for you the best. They will all have some effect, but you won't know which is working the best. So I always encourage you to, whatever method you're using, do it for at least a month, and then go on to the next one so that you can then gauge the difference. Because if you don't do it that way, then it's going to all become mishmash and you don't know what worked for you at what time. So always when you're testing and you're documenting it, documenting means write it down. Just write it down, the date you started and the date you stopped, and then you started your next method. So that way you can know for yourself, and you can maybe give me feedback, and I know for myself too that which meditation session you used, for how long, and then which one you changed over to, and then how that affected your persona, your psychology, your well-being, your health. Because everybody needs to be healthy too. So you need to be healthy. You don't want to be sick in hospital. So with that, I will encourage you to continue to abide by the teachings. And I was going to teach you about, I was speaking about the Jesus reference. And it says in John 6:44, it is written in the prophets, and they shall be all taught of Yahweh. Every man therefore that has heard and has learned of the Abba comes to me. See that? Well, Jesus is technically, he died, technically he was resurrected, then how are you going to be taught by Jesus? So Jesus is not talking about him teaching you from the heavens. He's actually talking about a manifesting process. You come to the Father. In other words, the kingdom is within you. Therefore, the Father is within you as well, technically. Therefore, when you come to the kingdom, you come to the Father. And Jesus is simply saying, I draw you unto me, meaning he is a rabbi, he's a teacher. He is teaching you how to come onto the Father through his instructions. It's very simple to understand. It's not hard, but we can make it hard and we can say, oh, Jesus did it and, Jesus saves me. No, none of that, because you're already saved in the covenants that Abraham was given thousands and thousands of years ago. You didn't need to wait for Jesus to come along to save you. So don't believe all that hype and all the, religious dogma that churches are teaching to simply enrich themselves. Save yourself the heartache. Don't go through that, because it will be a lot of heartbreak for you if you do. So don't do that. El, you're asking the question. So then we should only be doing one in the morning, one at night. I would suggest that you can have three. You can do three. You can do one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening. And they're all small meditations. They're not big. One is like maybe 7 minutes. Another is maybe 9 minutes. Then another is 5 minutes. So do that. Eddie, asking the question, Hakohen, do you believe King David visualized, meditated about becoming the king when he was a shepherd, similar to Joseph? I absolutely 100% believe that, Eddie. 100% yes. Because King David many times said, I meditate on your word. You read that in the Psalms over and over again, I meditate on your word. What does he mean by that? He actually was sitting there imagining. Whenever it says pray, whenever it says pray in the Bible, read imagination. Okay? Don't confuse it with, this standing there in front of the church and altar and cross and, oh, Jesus, come save me, Jesus, love me, and Jesus, give me this. No, this is all wrong. That's all wrong. Whenever you read pray in the Bible, when it says Abraham prayed to God. What does that mean, Abraham prayed to God? No, Abraham did imagination act with God. Where is God? Within him. And so it came to pass. So remember, I keep saying to people, I keep teaching my students, whenever you read word pray, it means imagination. Do imagination. So what is your time? Jesus taught as well. Jesus said, go into your closet and pray. Well, what is your closet? Your closet is your imaginative act. It is when you shut yourself out from the world And your closet is when you start doing imagination. That is how to pray in your closet. And a lot of people come up with, oh, it's, cover yourself with talit and all these nonsense Messianic groups that teach this. Cover yourself with talit and, oh no, lock your door behind you and close your door. Total wrong and error. It's simply talking about you sitting down and you shutting yourself in, meaning you could be, with 10 people around you, but you shut yourself and you shut your senses to everybody else and you start doing imaginative act. That's all it means. And yes, King David did meditation, and yes, even Abraham did meditation. So with that, have a great Shabbat. And those of you celebrating the festival next week on the 8th, have a great festival. Enjoy yourselves with your family. Love your families. Love yourself even more. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, I love you, leave you. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.